First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast app you are using. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, Postmarks. How are we doing?
Hello, Postmarks. Hello, NXT friends.
Friends.
And we'll always be your NXT friends. Braden and Davie here. Yes, we are up next. It is Tuesday night, March 11th, 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. That means you are catching us live right here on the Post Wrestling YouTube page. Drop a frog in the chat if you are with us here tonight, because we've passed the roadblock and we're on the road to Stand and Deliver. It's Stand and Deliver season.
It is. You know, like, yesterday I was feeling like, oh, it's kind of Stand and Deliver season, but now I've got over the roadblock. It is well and truly Stand and Deliver season. We can celebrate. We can put out our Stand and Deliver decorations. It's right. You won't be told off for it being too early. It is officially the start of Stand and Deliver season.
Stand and Deliver. There's no other seasons right now. It's just Stand and Deliver season. Yeah, it just sounds, we've been making fun of that for the past few years, but they're really sticking to it. And I mean, hey, after a show like tonight, maybe all the power to them.
I guess you can't really abbreviate it, because then it's just the sad season. And that's normally what it is in January and February. So, and you know what? The sun was out today. I was feeling a lot less sad today. So.
I mean, why don't you just call it takeover season again? You know, because that's what tonight.
What's takeover? What's takeover?
A bit of a takeover was tonight. I don't care what the show is called. I do prefer takeover. We'll bring that back one day. The way NXT is going right now, maybe it's not such a
that'll be a nostalgia show. Like we're still not, like, it still needs a couple more years before you can truly do a like takeover, a nostalgia takeover. You'll get back, you know, your Johnny Garganos and your Ciampas and your Adam Coles and whoever.
Mojo Rawley, Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
All the NXT legends in there. Yes, we are Braden and Dave. We are Up Next. We do this every Tuesday night. We're here to talk about WWE NXT Roadblock. We're going to chat about the entire show here on our post show at postwrestling.com. I see some people in the chat. Hello, people. Super chats are welcome here on the Post Wrestling YouTube. I already see someone named Philippe who says, Viva Chile, Viva Vaquer. Yes, Stephanie Vaquer, we will be talking all about tonight from NXT. It was a very, very big show off the bat. If you did not watch it and you're a cherry picker, hey, cherry pick this show. It was a very solid NXT show.
Yeah, I just got to say, wow, like, what a week. We've been spoiled, I think.
Spoiled rotten.
Just great wrestling, like starting with Elimination Chamber last week, and then going into, you know, AEW Revolution, which I know we're going to cover a little bit at the beginning of this show. Big Monday Night Raw in MSG last night. And then I'm going to say, I think this is the best TV special of NXT that they've done.
Absolutely.
I was blown away tonight.
This was one of the better NXT shows in quite a long time, maybe since like Heatwave last year, and that was like a PLE. This was a TV special here with the TV restraints and everything, and I thought they did a stellar job off the top. Like all the matches hit tonight, everything made sense, and it totally delivered. And the crowd were alive in Madison Square Garden Theater, but it was awesome. So would definitely there's your review right there. Is hey, if you're thinking about watching the show, maybe hit pause and maybe go watch it if you haven't, because it was pretty great.
Quick little bit of housekeeping. We're going to do our usual plugs of all the shows we've got coming up. We are going to talk a little bit about AEW Revolution and Monday Night Raw, because they were two big events, and I haven't hung out with Braden since then. So we're going to talk about that. But a wild Cena might appear at some point. So we're going to be going through the show, and as he's filing out of MSG, the theater right now, and is going to try and find a spot to give us a call and give us his quick live perspective thoughts of the show. So, but we'll be going through things as normal, and then we'll hit a quick pause when Ceno's ready, because I'd love to hear his takes on this.
Absolutely. Yes. Our friend Ceno Evil is there. I believe Fire Frank, the BDE champ, was also there tonight for NXT Roadblock. So we'll try to get some quick thoughts from Ceno, and maybe, just maybe, you caught Monday Night Raw. You may have seen Ceno Evil, because Mr. John Cena was front row with his son, Lil Zoe, and he managed to get on TV not once, but a whole lot through the night, representing Poisonrana. That's our name. That's our logo right there on Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden. How awesome is that? So shout out Ceno Evil. What a great look at that. We're on TV. Look, Mom. Our logo. Made it. We did it in Madison Square Garden, Monday Night Raw. Wow. Shout out Ceno. It looked like him and his son had a fantastic time at Raw. And apparently, if you watch one of the what's the taping show, Superstars or Main Event or whatever it is, Penta and Ceno's son have a bit of a moment that probably makes it to TV. I've already seen some pictures from WWE's account of them, so look forward to seeing that too. But
wow,
awesome.
Like Lorenzo Ceno has managed to do something that WWE has never managed to do, and that's make me watch Main Event. So wow. I'm absolutely going to be doing that.
I'm going to watch Main Event to see our friends Ceno and Lorenzo. So definitely cool. Always cool to see signs. And hey, if you're listening, you're going to any shows, always love live feedback, perspective, and little things. And bring a sign. Get us on TV. We'd love to see it. Do a Poisonrana is a fantastic sign idea. Just saying, because it's the best move going. But yes, that was pretty cool to see Ceno on Monday Night Raw. Super appreciate that. And of course, you can hear all about Monday Night Raw and all the other stuff going on. You said, Davey, it's crazy time to be a wrestling fan. We're very spoiled right now, whether it's WWE you watch only, or AEW, or hell, like TNA stars are on tonight's NXT show. And there's so much other stuff going on right now. And while we're like on this, WrestleMania season kick right now, it just feels like wrestling full stop is just go, go, go. And postwrestling.com, the whole team that we're a part of here, John Way and everyone else, like, we're killing it, and we're going to continue to kill it with WrestleMania season. I know the boys are going to work real hard on all the WrestleMania stuff, the coverage, and we're not going, and I'm not sure. I don't think John and Way are heading down this year.
No, not this
either.
Year.
But they're dads, they got kids and stuff. But I was all out for Vegas. I'm like, I don't know about it. And then I saw Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show ad Butterbean versus Minoru Suzuki with Dan Severn as the referee. I might change my mind. I might have to go see this to make sure Butterbean's okay. I got to make sure that I don't know what the hell that's going to be, but I will be watching that some way, shape, or form this WrestleMania weekend, or not this, but when it comes, because so far that's the car crash match that I think got some people's attention. I don't know about you.
Absolutely. I think WrestleMania weekends are always about those kind of just crazy graphic cards that you don't quite believe is that real? Is that a troll job? Is that real? Yeah. But yeah, Butterbean Minoru Suzuki just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. So super into looking at that. But if you've heard us talk, I swear we'll have a lot to talk about tonight. But if you are going to Vegas, and we're not, so we're a little bummed about that. But you may have heard us here. We're Toronto based, and we always go to our friends Demand Lucha here in the city in Parkdale. And now they're going to be on the road in Vegas for WrestleMania weekend. So Demand Lucha throwing on a show. It looks awesome. One night in Vegas. Use the promo code here from us at upNXT, Lucha Vegas, to get 25% off your tickets for this show, because they always are so much fun. They're a lucha party in Toronto, and now they're hitting the road for Mania weekend. And I'm super excited to see like our Toronto wrestling community go all out there. And I know there's a lot of Torontonians and Canadians who make their way for WrestleMania season. So if you're thinking, hey, I want to see what these guys are all about, this is your time, because they will be in Vegas on Thursday, April 17th, WrestleMania weekend. And Santana Jackson is on the card, Davey. You know how heartbroken I must be when I'm not going to see our favorite company with my favorite wrestler, but hopefully we get to see him in Toronto down the line. And if you are in the Toronto area, Demand Lucha is doing a bunch of shows in Toronto in May, and I think even Ottawa and Hamilton. So follow Demand Lucha on Twitter, Instagram, and go to luchamarket.com, because they are our pals. We love to support the indie wrestling, and they're doing a show in Vegas, which is crazy awesome. So looking forward to watching it from afar, because I'll be there in spirit. I can't hear you.
Sorry, there we go. I was saying I wish we could be there for this one. Like I love Demand Lucha. They're such a great promotion to support. They put on great shows, and the fact that they're doing WrestleMania weekend is huge. So if you're putting together your schedules, if you are going, I know there's so much going on. But yeah, one night in Vegas with Demand Lucha will definitely be worth checking out.
We've been spoiled as well. Like, we're in Toronto, we're in a big city, and we get a lot of wrestling that comes to town. Obviously, the Sky Dome show, Elimination Chamber, but we get a lot of indie stuff, and they've been like killing it and creating stars that a lot of you like to see. Like tonight, Ethan Page, like he was an Ontario indie guy for so long, and it's great to kind of see him make it in WWE. And it's the same. We're Canadian, but we're pumping out the stars. So I'm really happy that the whole community is kind of like coming alive, because I support it. Like we saw it last week with Rogers Center, and we did our event and everything. And like, just it's a wild time to be a fan anymore. You don't have to be ashamed to be a wrestling fan anymore. Too many people are into it again right now, and there's no like, oh, I don't have anyone to talk about. I feel like there's a lot of people who are jumping back on this year specifically, especially like if they hadn't already. I think the John Cena heel turn has been seen by every single person I know, because I don't know about you. You know, you're known as the wrestling guy, right? When you're a wrestling fan and your group of friends or whoever that maybe don't watch, chances are they heard about this John Cena thing, because like it seems like everyone is asking me about this. I'm getting messages from like people, uncles, cousins, like old friends, like everyone just who are like, don't watch wrestling. Like, oh,
I had a customer at the bar today ask me about it. He knows I'm a wrestling guy. He's like, but come on, you got to tell me about John Cena. But I don't want to talk about John Cena. I want to talk about John Cena.
Oh,
hello, John. How are you doing?
I'm trying to get in the frame here. Okay, is that a little better? There we go.
There you go. You're in the frame.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the MSG in my background, but that might have to suffice for tonight. How you guys doing today?
I'll try that. There we
go.
There
It's a little better.
Landscape.
Perfect. Yeah, guys. That felt like a PLE that I just went to. That's my first thought coming out of there. That felt like an old school takeover event. The takeover that was still the WrestleMania weekends. That's what it felt like. The crowd there was energetic from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. and whatever change was left. That was a fantastic atmosphere. It felt like an old school ROH Hammerstein show, probably like ECW Arena type of feels. Probably one of my favorite shows I've been to in a long time for sure.
Look at this. Roving reporter John Cena, literally outside Madison Square Garden, calling in live here on upNXT. First of all, did your son Lorenzo have fun at Monday Night Raw last night?
Yes, Monday Night Raw was amazing. So this year we made the choice. I had promised him either WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber, and unfortunately neither one happened. So I was like, you know what? Let me take whatever funds I had set aside and get some pretty decent seats for Monday Night Raw. And then, yeah, he just fell in love with Penta recently. We found out Penta was there. He did the Cero Miedo and everything with him in the front row. They caught it on camera. He posted on his Instagram and made his night. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes was there. CM Punk was there. So, yeah, fantastic show. We had a time in our life. And happy to represent Poisonrana as well in the front row.
Absolutely. We were just talking about it, weren't we, Davey? About how we got
Absolute-
to be on TV here. Oh, also, did Lorenzo get his bracelets and pins that I sent Frank?
I just got it tonight actually from Frank.
Excellent.
Yep, I just got it. Yep, sorry.
I got the hookup.
There we go.
I got the exclusive Poisonrana merch you can only get from me at our live events, but I made sure to make extra for your.
Thank you, appreciate it.
But in like bullet form here, while we have you, like go off on today's show, highlights or anything that comes to mind.
Yeah. I kind of want to
ask
ask first, like, if we start with the venue, because I know you're a New Yorker. Like, have you been to this venue before? What have you seen there?
Yes, I've been there twice. I've been there once. It was a triple R lucha show that had like Cain Velasquez, Psycho Clown. It was like a crazy lineup of people. Brian Cage. So I went there, and then a couple years after that, they had an NXT house show here, believe it or not. I know Shane McMahon was there, dancing with No Way Jose in the front row. Liv Morgan was handing out pizza. Like, that's all I remember from that event. So it's a really cool venue, and I think I told Braden this off the air. It's the home of the Lions Den from SummerSlam 1998 with Ken Shamrock.
Oh,
they brought it up tonight. Yeah, yep. Corey Graves brought it up on commentary.
So, and I just love the venue. Like, this is the type of places that AEW should be going to for Collision. They've been going to places similar like this. So, this is an amazing venue. I was talking to Fire Frank. I was like, if they come back here for SummerSlam and they want to do an NXT event, they got to do a PLE here. It'll be amazing.
Oh,
yeah. Like, I feel like it's smaller than like when they usually do, right? Like PLEs and their takeovers, they usually have, like last year at Stand and Deliver, it was like the biggest, right? Like 17,000 or something. This, I saw WrestleTix was posting around like 4,000 ish or so, give or take. Like, but it sounded loud on TV.
It was so loud. Like, literally, I had to ask people, like, do we sound loud on TV? Because my eardrums were ringing. That's how loud it was. But it was like a positive loudness. And it started like even before the show went on the air. I came in about 15 minutes to 8 o'clock, and there was like LFG matches going on. I don't know if they showed the coaches or anything, but they were already going crazy for that match. And then into the show itself, as soon as we were on the air, they knew we were on the CW network. From 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., it was like nonstop, just like the crowd did not die whatsoever. There was no rest moment at all. If you compare today's women's match with Roxanne and Jordynne Grace to last night's match with Bayley and Raquel Rodriguez, night and day. Like, the crowd was dead for that. They were chanting boring. Kids were audibly saying, "I'm going to the restroom." It was bad. Tonight, they're glued for Roxanne and Jordynne, as well as Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. The atmosphere, it felt like amazing. This show felt like a matchup of like all different types of promotions. You got your CMLL influence, you got your Stardom influence, you had your like independent wrestling influence, AEW influence. So it felt like a really like a WrestleMania weekend type of show, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Yeah, I really appreciated the like we had few sort of little bits in between matches, but it was pretty much bang, 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 match after match after match. And I think so many of these like TV specials, we felt a bit shortchanged on some of the matches where I didn't feel that was the case today. I think they got the pacing down.
Yeah, I was keeping my eye on the screen because you could tell when the live logo or the CW logo disappears. And I was like, you know what? They're not really going to commercial that much tonight. So I was hoping it was going to be more like commercial free or extended edition, whatever you want to call it. So I'm happy you guys weren't shortchanged. That was my number one fear, because I'm like, from a live perspective, from beginning to end, there was no down points. Like, it felt like just straight wrestling, takeover style, 5 matches, no in-ring segments. You had the thing with Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe, but other than that, it was just straight wrestling for 2 hours straight, and that made the atmosphere so much lively because of that.
And I noticed today, like you were saying about the downtime and commercials, but they didn't like hold back in commercials like I think they usually do. Like, we have the picture-in-picture feed in Canada on Netflix, and I felt there was a lot of like some big stuff still happening during the commercials. So clearly the wrestlers treating it more like a PLA as well.
Yeah, and the crowd was so ready. Like, they showed the video package hyping up Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer, and we're like so amped up. We're going to go right to entrances, and they cut to commercial, and the crowd just starts to win because we just wanted the match to happen at that point. And yeah, it was just beautiful. The entire show, like, there was like even like the heels were getting booed. I feel like we're getting cheered. The Hardy Boys, like, were still over in 2025. Like, it was like I said, it was a mix up of just like all types of promotions and all types of eras, and beautiful atmosphere. I enjoyed it.
What was your match of the night tonight?
That's tough. That's really tough.
I know.
I really liked Ova and Moose. It felt like an underground like boxing event. It just felt like two guys that shouldn't be fighting somehow. Some illegal tactics happened, and 2 different promotions, worked out a match to happen. So that had a really special feel to it. But I feel like that's really tough. I might have to go with the opener, the Hardy Boys and FRAXIOM.
Okay.
I think I agree. I really did like everything on that show, but the opener seemed to be like my favorite. Just seeing the Hardy Boys, FRAXIOM, it was a dream match. Are you being harassed on the street right now?
Some guy behind me wants to yeet. You just yeet on camera. Go ahead. Yeet. There we go. There we go. New York City, baby. New York City. New York City. No,
you going to Rudy's after this?
Be safe.
You going to Rudy's after this?
Poisonrana, yeah. But it's going to be on Post Wrestling. Just Google Poisonrana. You'll be on there. To all your friends. No problem. Take care. Have a good night. One more.
Yeet, my dog.
Yeet. There we go. All right. Wow. Yeet, my dog. Beautiful. New York City.
Wow. Thank you, Sino, for
absolutely
live in New York. Sino Evil here reporting. He's going to go have a few hot dogs at Rudy's.
That sounds like a great idea right now, actually.
Yeah. You going to meet up with Frank?
What's that drink, Davey? The peanut butter banana, what was that called?
Oh, Dirty Monkey?
Dirty Monkey. I'm gonna get myself a Dirty Monkey.
Or you could help us out over here. Order some Crown Royal instead.
I'll see you next week, Davey. I'll be seeing you in a few days.
I'll see you in a few.
Thank you, Sino, for reporting on the scene. We love you, brother.
Absolutely, love you guys. Take care.
Love you, man. Thank you so much.
Go to the Croc store for me. It's across from Madison Square Garden. I'm looking for the Shrek ones, if anyone's got a link. Anyways, thank you, John Sino, for that incredible reporting. Of course, you can always hear Sino Evil's thoughts weekly on Poisonrana. It's a free show called Shot in the Dark, where Sino fills you in 15 minutes or less of all the other wrestling, whether it's Ring of Honor, MLW, TNA, everything. He talks about it all in 15 minutes or less, gives you the reports. Evolve, LFG, man, this guy is watching so much wrestling. If you think ever that you watch a lot of wrestling, I'm guaranteed this guy's got you beat, and he talks all about it. And then, of course, Sino's on What Up Though once a month with B Detroit, where they talk all about wrestling and video games and pop culture and everything. So I know they'll definitely be talking about the Wu-Tang Clan last tour that Sino might be going back to MSG for. I'm pretty sure he got tickets for that. So listen to Sino. We love all his work on the show. And hey, while we're talking and giving him his flowers, Sino Evil will be joining me next week, Tuesday. John Sino Evil and Braden Herrington for upNXT, as Davie will be away next week. So Sino will be in with me for the whole show, and maybe we'll get some more thoughts on Roadblock and whatnot from tonight. So yeah, the love is real in the Poisonrana post wrestling community.
So yes, support Sino, as Braden mentioned, Shot in the Dark on our Poisonrana feed. Yes, you are listening to us on Post Wrestling right now, but we have our own little network as well called Poisonrana, and it's absolutely free. We do a weekly show every most Sundays talking about the past week in pro wrestling, and then we have Sino doing Shot in the Dark. We have shows such as What Up Though, where John Sino is joined by B Detroit, and they talk about a lot of stuff going on in pop culture, hip hop, movies, video games, the lot. You have a show called Detox with Jordan Goodman, where you talk about absolutely everything and absolutely nothing, all at the same time combined. And then the Eagles Don't Hunt Flies lads, where we have Martin Bushby, Dickie Bird, and Brandon from New Jersey going through the career of a Mr. Jon Moxley, the still, unfortunately, AEW World Champion. But we have a Patreon as well. So please go and support us on that, patreon.com/Poisonrana. It's only $5, and we've been recording a lot of shows recently, Braden.
Oh, yeah. We never stop. I mean, you can catch us live. We weren't live this past Sunday, but we will be live this Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, to chat all about what's going on in wrestling. Cody Rhodes, John Cena, face-to-face next week. We'll chat about some Raw, some SmackDown, some AEW Dynamite Collision, maybe everything else that's going on in the world of wrestling. And that's live this Sunday at 2 p.m., the precursor to St. Patrick's Day. But you said we have a Patreon, and oh boy, we've been cooking. We first, in honor of Rogers Center hosting Elimination Chamber, we looked back at the last time the Fed were there with WrestleMania 18, Rock v. Hogan. If that's not enough, we do a show where we let people select things. Our family member patrons sign up for that to pick a movie or wrestling, and we'll talk about it, and we'll have you on, where Mahmoud, our family member patron, selected Godfather Part 2, and Davie and I watched it for the first time, and I know I saw the Rizzler posting that he was watching it probably for the first time on his flight, or maybe his dad was, but that saw that on his Instagram. So maybe he's a patron, as a few people have messaged me and pointed that out. But if that's not enough, we do a show called The Champ Is Here. And month by month, we've been going through John Cena's title reigns through WWE. So we have done 5 episodes in the catalog there. Some of them have been free.
We've done 6, actually.
We've done 6. Oh my God. So this is episode 7. Wow.
We're coming up to episode 7.
So this is going to be episode 7. And this is John Cena's 7th title reign. And I mean, I had this whole plan for this, but the cat is out the bag, Davey. We've been hacked. It is, unfortunately. So we've had a lot of great guests on this show, and as a producer, I'm not only a fantastic, hilarious host, but sometimes I like to put things together, and that includes some guests. And I thought there's 2 people in the post wrestling world that I think might be the same person, and the only way to make sure that they're not is I invited both of them on to this show and didn't tell each other that they were both invited to the show. And then one of them was tweeting about all this ridiculous, awful John Cena stuff that they had to watch. And the other one went, wait a second, I'm watching the same Iron Man match with Randy Orton and John Cena. Yes, from Post Wrestling, Eric Marcotte and Jack Wannon will be joining us for Champ Is Here, episode 7. Find out if they are, in fact, the same person. Both work for Post Wrestling. Both really love MMA, sort of, I guess, right now. Both do shows with John Pollock, but now they're doing a show together and with us on Champ Is Here.
Okay, I think this is going to be an episode where you really do have to watch the YouTube version because these guys sound the same as well.
Twins.
Like it's going to be very confusing. No, I'm looking forward to it. You did a show with Jack while I was back in London just last year. We've done many shows with Eric over the past. They're both great guys, and I guess this is kind of their era, right, of wrestling. So
I feel like, were they even born yet? I don't know.
I'm really looking forward to this show. We're talking about the 7th title reign of John Cena. This includes the 1-hour anything goes Iron Man match between John Cena and Randy Orton. It includes the triple threat match from Survivor Series against Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Okay. And it includes the tables match from TLC 09 with the crowning of Sheamus as WWE champion. So we'll be going through all the Raws, all the stories going into this, guest GMs, and this show's a lot of fun. We're really enjoying going through all this. This is the first Champ Is Here since the heel turn, so that kind of turns things on its head a little bit. But yes.
Like we've been going through month by month and doing this show, like going through John Cena's entire career so far, and we've made it up to his 7th reign. So like episode 1 through 6 now, we've covered his whole WWE run. So this is a great podcast for you if you're a John Cena fan or you missed, there's some pockets there that you missed. We go through it all, and we've had some fantastic guests in the past, and we're not stopping yet. We're doing this till he gets 17 and beyond, baby. So we'll keep going. But the episode 7 with Jack and Eric will be this week on our Patreon. So you get all those shows, but that's some wrestling talk. I mentioned there's a holiday coming up this Monday. Some of you may celebrate by splitting the G or drinking green beer on St. Patrick's Day. And you may know we have a little tradition. Every St. Patrick's Day for the past few years, we've reviewed a Leprechaun film. That's right. Every year we've been going through Leprechaun, the horror series movies. And if you've listened to our reviews in the past 4 years, you learned that we really hate these movies, but we can't stop now because we went to Vegas, Leprechaun in Vegas. We had Leprechaun in space. You thought we were going to stop before Leprechaun got to the hood with Ice-T? Well, we didn't. And we actually recorded this today, and this will be out this week for all patrons. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're talking about Leprechaun in the Hood with Ice-T, Warwick Davis, 4-leaf clover joints, and just an awful movie, which will make for a hilarious review, I guarantee. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a fun chat. It is spoilers. It's revealed on the show that the image I used for the graphic isn't even from this movie, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to do any more work on this movie than I already have. But it's a fun chat, and
Leprechaun?
We're committing to the bit. We'll be doing it again next year.
Well, we go back to the hood.
We'll have to go back to the hood. Yes.
What would you rather watch again? Like, you've just watched both these things. Just put this in perspective. Would you rather watch Leprechaun in the Hood again, or would you rather watch John Cena, Randy Orton in an hour-long Iron Man match? I mean, it's an hour long.
Okay, I'm watching it tomorrow morning. I have never watched this match ever, so I'm not expecting much. But I'd probably say the Iron Man match just to tick it off my bucket list.
When you were like, oh man, who in their right mind would agree to join us to talk about John Cena, Randy Orton Iron Man match 1 hour long? I was like, I know who. The bastard who selected Spider-Man 3. That's who. The bastard who selected Catwoman. So I got my revenge by making Eric watch way too much John Cena. So there you go. Lots and lots of shows on the Patreon. Go to Poisonrana.ca for links of everything. Again, $5 to become a member. Even if you want to try it out for a whole month, you get access to all these shows and everything else, all the wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more. So give us a shot. It's only $5. It's basically buying us a beer, and we'll split the G for you this St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely. We are going to go a little long today because there is a lot to talk about. So for those going, when's the NXT review? We will get there. But firstly, I wanted to talk a little bit about AEW Revolution. Now, we won't necessarily go through every single match, but one of my favorite pay-per-views, I've got to say. And I've been very, very down on AEW in the last few months, but I thought this was a pretty spectacular show with some excellent, excellent matches. And maybe one of the best runs of sort of 3 matches in a row that I can think of.
That 3-match stretch right there, like the Toni Storm, Mariah May should have main evented that show. That's like definitely. I think the whole show was really fun. These AEW shows are a marathon. If you're like me and you had to tune into the Costco guys in the beginning, like that's 7 o'clock to midnight is a long time to watch wrestling. WWE, they give you 4, 5, sometimes 6 matches. And there's a lot of commercials, but it gives you time to breathe. Whereas this is like go, 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 go. And eventually the levee's got to break. And I feel like it did for that main event. The crowd are really there for it, but I don't think a lot of people, I think the unanimous like decision through fans is like, yeah, that main event kind of stunk up the joint and kind of gave us a laugh. But that 3-match streak between Tony, Mariah, and then Kenny and Takeshita, and then Fletcher and Ospreay, like those 3 in a row, like that was nuts. Those 3 are your match of the year contenders.
Incredible, right? Like, absolutely incredible. I mean, in hindsight, absolutely. I think you could have had, if you just switched the 2 world title matches. If you had Mox and Cope in that slot earlier, I think people would have had way more fun with it. I think people would have got into the fun of the Christian attempted cash in a bit more. You could have still done the stuff with Swerve coming off the balcony at the end. And then I thought that women's match was incredible. And I don't think you'd have had the fatigue at all if you went and had that at the end. And just the image with them lying on top of each other with the end, I thought was such a brilliant way to end this show. I know it's hindsight. I know you don't necessarily know how everything's going to turn out when putting it together, but I just think
we know? Didn't we all? I think
we knew. But yeah, like that match, and I looked. It was only about 13 minutes. It was a complete like sprint of a match, but just the level of violence, the level of blood. It was deathmatch territory, and I just found it so funny because I'm watching SmackDown a couple of days before. And Wade Barrett is trying to convince me that Michin is queen of the death match as she pulls out a kendo stick, and then I'm just watching Tony and Mariah absolutely killing each other.
Bloodsport, Kumite,
champagne bottles to the cooch and all of that. Like crazy, crazy stuff. I thought it was magnificent. And
easily the best of the series.
I absolutely loved Elimination Chamber, but for me, I think this just based on those 3 matches, and Hangman MJF was fantastic as well.
It really
Swerve and Ricochet was fantastic as well. You had 5 really incredible matches on that show. So yeah, like it's the front runner for me so far. I really hope they can follow this up in a positive way. I think it's a good thing actually that Dynasty's coming up pretty soon. We already know what the match is, Mox and Swerve. please just get it on Swerve, get it off of Mox, because I think that is the only thing hindering the company right now. They've made some good moves recently. They've been running good venues. You know, I thought that theater they run Dynamite in last week looked gorgeous and made the show feel so special. Very like MSG tonight, the theater, like how a venue, like, you know, low ceilings, loud crowds who are there, who know everything and are invested. It lifts your product so much. And then when you're doing that stuff and you have the talent like Ospreay, Fletcher, Takeshita, Kenny, etc., it's incredible. It's magic. And they really need to ride this wave going into Dynamite tomorrow and put on a hot show, get some other things set up quickly for Dynasty. And, you know, as I said, I think it's good having a pay-per-view pretty quick this time because it can build that momentum up again. And if we can kill this Death Rider story dead, no one cares about... Sorry, no one cares. Wheeler Yuta, we don't care. Be with the Death Riders. Don't be with the Death Riders. I don't care. It shouldn't be in this world title story at all. It's completely ran its course. And it's holding the rest of the show back for me.
Absolutely. Like the fact that, like, you know, the crowd were still into Mox and Cope. And that's a testament to, like, you know, 10, 11,000 strong in the Staples Center. Sorry, Crypto Center. Like, that's awesome. Like they really had an energetic crowd who were there. Like you said, like knew everything. Were really, it was all Leslie Jones in the crowd, getting everyone to, you know, hype up and Ken Jeong and stuff. But like, you know, I thought it was really great. I think the TV has really suffered. I've not watched the TV in a few weeks. Like I've just kind of cherry picked some stuff, and the videos were great to fill me in on everything that was going on. But like, it's the Death Rider stuff. If that's your main angle, your world title, you wouldn't even know it because the title's been locked away. But like, we need to pivot out of that. And with Swerve and that all happening, if Swerve were to take it from Moxley, we need All In, Texas, Hangman, Swerve one last time in the main event of a stadium show. I think that's the direction. I mean, other than that, it's Daniel Bryan coming back to fight Mox or something. Like, I don't know what else is as big as that one. I'm sure we'll get some other matches added to it. We've been kind of seeing where the direction they're going. I got to give it up to my boy Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita, my two favorite wrestlers, possibly, like up there as ever. And they put on a incredible match with the matching Heoming mask gear, looking fresh. They put on a match that was insane. And then the like, we already had the violence with the women. Then these two go out and have just like ball for ball, you know, band for band, killing each other. And then Ospreay and Fletcher with one of the best cage matches I've ever seen, including, we saw the glass bottle to the vag, but then we got what, the tax in the dick tax, which,
oh my word,
what the hell, man?
Styles clash on the tax
it reminded me of like every movie where there's like a bad guy who's always being extra pervy, because through this whole match Fletcher was like licking things and being gross, and then ends up getting his dick in the tax. Like, oh man, yeah, just awesome. That 3-match stretch was great. But everything, you know, I didn't even like hate the main event. I just wish it was like Edge speared him and it was over. I wanted Brock Goldberg, you know.
it would have done them a service to be earlier in the show, because I think we'd have been, yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Kenny, Kenny being international champion. I mean, I do think, you know,
we know where that's going.
You watch this show and it should be Kenny, Hangman, MJF, Swerve, Ricochet, etc. And yeah, Ricochet, like, he's won me over. They should be the guys surrounding. They should be the guys.
Ricochet, you love Ricochet now. I think this is the best work he's ever done.
Always big fan.
I always love Ricochet. Actually, yeah, I always love Ricochet.
But these should be the guys you should be focusing your world title on, and it's cool that Kenny's international champion. I hope that it feels like the destination is to get Kenny Okada at All In and merge these titles. You know, make it obviously the Continental title coming out of All In. Intercontinental title. They can't call it Intercontinental, God forbid. But
why can't you? Fuck
it. But yeah, I think that's the direction. Although I don't know how that will look in 2025, because Okada just isn't really doing it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, Okada. Oh man, what was it? Was it Excalibur on commentary who was like, Okada's like Messi going to MLSE? And like, Davey, you know, I don't know a lot about footy, but I was like, that's not what you should be saying. However, Excalibur, you are speaking truly facts, because like, hey, imagine you're the best, and then
I think you mean going to the MLS, yeah,
MLSD, not
Maple Leafs Entertainment.
Maple Leaf, yeah, sorry. We have that's a thing here,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, he comes here and it's like, yeah, put the brakes on. They just want to see me, you know what I mean? Like that match shouldn't have been on the show. God bless Brody Lee, but like there was room for that to be added on Dynamite instead. So yeah, did I say Brody Lee or I meant Brody King?
You did, yeah.
All the things today. I'm excited. No, I really love this pay-per-view. I think moving forward they need to, like, the one problem is Moxley and the Death Rider. So like cut that out immediately and move forward. Remember who our main characters are, as MJF like to remind us. He's not the main character.
Mm.
I think we have all these stars. Like, why did we go with Moxley this long? And I just look at all the other stars that they've made. Ricochet is one of them. Fletcher is one of them. Takeshita is one. Like, we've made so many guys right now that are just cooking. And I really enjoyed that show. Like Revolution from the beginning.
One final thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Go for it.
Kenny's got to get rid of that music. Like,
yeah, I really
it's a mood killer. Like,
yeah, it should go.
I get he likes Final Fantasy. Like, I like Mario Kart. Doesn't mean I'm gonna come out wrestling to Mario Kart.
That would be
music.
sick though. It's
like
like J-pop, J
that would
metal.
be better. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a mood killer, I think. But anyway,
it should open. It should, like, the opening is sick. Like his new graphics and everything are awesome, and the fire that, like, some images like that look crazy. It should then kick into Battle Cry. Like Battle Cry, low key, one of my favorite bangers. So like, this one, it just doesn't fit. It feels like video game music. So that is the one critique. But really, really enjoyed this. We had the boys over and we were watching, and it was a great time. Everyone was like loving the show. I think up to the main event is where, like, again, unanimously, and then it seemed like that online and different, podcasts and stuff are like, oh yeah, that main event. But honestly, solid show. Last year we were at Revolution and it was our show of the year, one of the best shows I've ever been to. And this year's Revolution was up there. So all we need now is for them to pivot, take that title off of Moxley, put it on Big Boom AJ, just, make these moves now while it's hot. I guess Big Boom AJ won't be able to be AEW champion because he's training at the New Japan Dojo in LA to be in the G1. Obviously that's where we got to go. Right. But apparently though, they've signed like AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler to like more appearances. So yeah, this is going to, it's
like,
going.
Hey, you're not allowed to talk about keep on wanting to go to WWE.
You're with us. Yeah. We're going to pay you to make sure you don't ever wear a WWE title in public again. So love it. Love to see it. I had a great time watching this show. And again, their pay-per-views seem to hit. Yeah, the main event was a flop, but let's move forward and get that title on Swerve. Absolutely.
Did you catch any of Raw last night?
Yes, I had to see what Cody Rhodes was saying, especially talking about John Cena and the one line that definitely caught my attention. I'm the captain now. From Cody Rhodes to John Cena. I really loved his promo from that, and they're stretching that. Cody's eye, man. I don't know if that was Cena's with the Rolex or Travis Scott with that slap that everyone's talking about, but I don't know if you've heard, wrestling is real, according to Travis Scott. So I'm interested because next week, Raw, Cena and Cody, like, together in Brussels. Maybe the muscles from Brussels will show up. But like, man, I'm loving, like, this is a big match. They instantly like made the WrestleMania build like go back to the way it should, like it did last year, remember last year, as soon as the Rock at the Vegas thing, it like exploded WrestleMania season. As soon as the Cena thing, oh man, like, again, everyone is talking about this. So
I feel this break between Chamber and Cena showing up again has been kind of good. I think it like fuels the speculation around his character. It builds that anticipation of what is he going to look like? What's he going to sound like? What's he going to say? What's his music going to be? I think it's actually quite smart. You can keep playing those videos. You can keep getting that thing go more and more viral. And Cody is obviously a great talker who can go out and carry this for 2 weeks on his own. But yeah, the anticipation for Cena, Cody in the same arena next week
Under
in
the same
Brussels.
roof is the advertisement.
Is what they said.
Funny. They're still using that image of Cena. So, like, what are we getting? Are we getting Cena in the suit? Has he grown his facial hair out? Like, what's the difference?
I wouldn't be surprised if, which is cruel to this Brussels crowd, but the fact the wording is under the same roof, I see it being like in his dressing room on the Titantron. Like, I'm not going out there. I'm not going out to the fans, that kind of thing,
Brussels.
which will suck for those Brussels fans, but I see it working for his character and stuff.
I'm interested to see what they do. Like, now, us crazy wrestling fans, took 20 years plus of us being like, boo, Cena, you suck, turn heel. And then he turns heel. We're like, yeah, when we're supposed to boo him, but we're like, oh, fuck, this is sick. So, like, you're going to get that no matter what. You're going to get people now cheering. Like, as soon as the match happens, there's a chance Cody gets booed at WrestleMania, just like The Rock did when he fought Hogan, right? So definitely interested in this feud. And I've loved this Cody run, and this is just adding like big stakes to WrestleMania, making it feel very, very big, because it's brought back a lot of people interested in seeing this. Some people are like, wait, is that the Dusty Rhodes kid versus John Cena? It's like, this is, everyone seems to be really into this. And The Rock is there, Travis Scott. Why not?
I actually can see them maybe sort of hoping that Rock Hogan is what happens, and people that day just decide, wow, this is Cena's last WrestleMania. Fuck it, I don't care. I'm cheering him anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
I could see it being exactly the same thing. Like, Cena could win the title there and continue the heel run, or if you want Cody to win, you can pretty much do Rock Hogan. And I think either direction works. I just think it's very exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely. Other stuff from Monday Night Raw, I loved the luchador of Chad Gable feuding with the Mexicans, feuding with the luchadors. This has to lead to like a multi-man match at WrestleMania. The All-American Made versus, LWO with Rey Mysterio, maybe Rey Fénix with an appearance. Not quite sure, but loving the, hey, who's under that mask gimmick. We've seen Juan Cena in the past, but now luchador. I assumed he was going to go to Lucha Underground to find someone to help him. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Like, oh, who's he going to get? Maybe he finds Rey Fénix. That the mask somewhat similar to Rey. He's got wings like Rey Fénix on the eyes there. So I love this, and I'd love to see where this goes. And again, it should make a pretty fun match at WrestleMania if that's the direction. But yeah, Chad Gable, like his comedy and his wrestling are both like really up there right now.
Obviously, the similarities to Angle wrestling wise, but it's this kind of thing where I really get Kurt Angle vibes. Like this, this feels so Kurt Angle comedy, because he could switch being just the absolute goofball, or wearing, like when he shaved his head, wearing the silly like wrestling headgear with a wig, yet still wrestle like a killer. And there's very few who can find that balance well, and I think Chad Gable's really got that. And I like it's interesting. Some of your characters in WWE, that wrestlers have so much more longevity now, and it's kind of okay. Like I feel it builds this. You sometimes have the hotshot booking of pushing someone, but then you get your Sami Zayns, who I feel at this point, his moment's going to come, but think of the years of shit he was doing as well. And I feel similar with Chad Gable. Like he's kind of getting his flowers in this run at the moment. He's on TV all the time being featured. He puts on great matches. He's super entertaining in these speaking segments. And I kind of feel like his day will come too, because he's such a talent.
I forget what I was just watching, but someone was interviewing wrestlers about like, who do you want in your corner if like a bunch of people try to fight you? And Chad Gable has been brought up like, oh, no, Chad Gable would like fucking, everyone's like, yeah, he would fuck someone up. I'm like, oh, I would love to see that actually.
He'd be the unassuming guy as well, right? Because he'd be the littlest of the group, and then just fucking
throwing people around. Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love where it's going. It's pretty great. And we had the multi-man match last year with like Rey Mysterio and them, but I feel like this year even more. Now we got Penta and stuff. Like, yeah, do it. It'll be a fun, cool match for Mania. There's 2 nights. They can fit all those guys on the show. And then the cage match, Seth and Punk, where Roman Reigns, the OTC, returned. I think we are getting that triple threat match that we've been kind of talking about for a past little while. I think we all can see that was the direction. Seth, Roman, Punk at WrestleMania. Probably not one of the main events, right? Which is sorry, Punk, you're not getting that main event. Just they're gonna make you work for that. But you know what? I like this story. It's weaving in so many different stories. I think it's still pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this main event. I thought it was it's so hard to follow, the cage match that Ospreay and Fletcher had on Sunday.
I would not necessarily compare the two, to be honest. I didn't necessarily like the match, but I thought that at the end of it, it really drives the story. Like, these are three of your biggest stars going in wrestling, Seth, Punk, and Roman. And like, this angle really sets up the people really want to see this match. I got that from this crowd. So
I really did like the cage match. Obviously it's WWE style. It's hard to compare the two. It's similar to one of the street fight we're going to talk about later today. Like, it's hard to compare that to like an AEW street fight just because of the boundaries. But I thought they told a pretty good story. I had a pretty entertaining match. I was biting on some of those near falls, but I actually loved the finish with Roman just pulling Seth out to beat him up. Causes the win. It gives Punk something to be pissed about. I do think there's more money in the singles feuds, but I think they're doing a good job. And this crowd, like MSG, obviously one of the best venues to do it in, was so hot for Roman. I like also how Roman hasn't really, he's not just a goody two-shoes babyface now. He's still got a lot of his arrogance of the tribal chief. Like, his character hasn't really changed. The only thing that's different is he's not the champion, and he's trying to get that back. But we like him now. I thought the beatdown on Seth was great. I thought, Paul checking on Punk and Roman's reaction to that was really good. We still got the favor left to happen. I thought they heated this match up really well this week.
The favor has changed now, because pre-chamber we were like, oh, the favor is Roman helps Punk. That obviously wasn't the case. Is the favor now, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle, Paul chooses sides and helps,
at Mania? Yeah. Help
absolutely, right? Yeah,
and then that can spin off the singles feud.
Because, I know I'm seeing a thread or a trend right now where it's a lot of fans who are like either lapsed fans or just maybe new to this. There's a lot of, like, when you watch Avenger movies, there's like 20 of them, and if you watch them all, you'll get every little thing. But if you just watch like the newest ones and you skipped like the last 10 years, you might not pick up on certain things. Because I'm seeing a lot of people are like, oh wow, like Punk versus Roman, that's like a new match. It's like, yeah, actually, there's a lot of history there. Actually, there's a whole podcast about that. There's a lot of stuff right there that we've been waiting for, that's been like, bubbling for years. And then now Seth into the mix. So it's like, it is something that's like, Roman versus Punk is a big singles matchup that like we would assume we go to at least once. And like, yeah, it's a little like we're being robbed because it's a triple threat, but at the same time, what else were we supposed to do with
you? Need to get all three of these guys on the show somehow in a big prominent match. And as you said, there is the history there between all three of them in different ways. And Heyman is obviously going to be heavily involved. I mean, all four of them are going to be heavily involved in the writing of this story, along with Triple H, I imagine. So I think you're going to have that, Shield history being told, and just, the podcast and stuff like that. There's so much to draw from all three. So I'm kind of looking forward to these segments to build it up.
So definitely something Seth has to do in this. Like, Punk will probably nix it, but like in one because now there's three, you got to have promo battles between the three of them. So they're going to be calling each other out and whatnot. So it can make it interesting, but Seth has got to do the, hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing? The wave. It's like he's referencing the Shield and Roman, and make Roman look strong is definitely something that should be put on a t-shirt in the upcoming weeks. But this, I'd say, like, this is still great use of big three stars right now, but maybe not as excited for this as like, the Cody Cena stuff and the Rock's involvement and stuff. So like, what would you say is night one? Like, one of the nights has to be Cena Cody. I imagine that's night two. The big match is Cena versus Cody. Like, that's the one, right?
Yeah, I still think, although it does feel like it's cooled off quite a bit for me, the Jey Uso Gunther thing. I feel like they're gonna give it that.
right,
for night one.
Night one.
I don't think it's as important, like with when you've got all these matches, especially for the night one main event, who it is. I don't think the we'll talk about the women's segment in a bit, but I don't think the Charlotte and Tiffany definitely isn't at that level yet, interest wise. Rhea, Bianca, Io could. Like I thought they had a pretty good segment on yesterday, and again, setting up likely a three-way between them. I loved how, you know, Rhea stormed out, was pissed at Bianca, and Io's just like, yo, I'm the fucking champion and I'm standing here. Like, don't ignore me. I thought that was great. And I think the three of them will have a hell of a match as well. But again, it kind of, similar to Punk and Roman, it does rob us a little of that first time. It's just Bianca versus Rhea. And you can always go there, but it always feels more special when it's first, and then you get the triple threat rather than the other way around. But again, it's you do that, and what's EO doing for this show?
Yeah. No, I do think that triple threat will be very exciting. Like, there should be some crazy. Those three are great, and especially great together. So I think that is a smart move, and will add to whatever night that it's on. I mean, Rhea, one of the biggest stars, EO being really pushed, Bianca, like these are three of the top women right now in WWE. So this match should absolutely bang. So WrestleMania is shaping up really, really well. Just like we were worried for a little bit, like, oh, what's gonna happen? I think it's shaping up to look pretty good so far. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's great. WrestleMania season right now, wrestling going nonstop. You can't. Every day of the week, there's wrestling, whether it's whatever shows you're watching, and there's so many things going on. So we're spoiled. We're spoiled right now, but definitely looking forward to it. And one thing, if you're not going to WrestleMania, but you are in Toronto, stay tuned, because we will be announcing a little bit of a Rana Mania party very, very soon. Follow this space, if you will. But yeah, there you go. There's our Raw chat. And we'll talk more about some SmackDown and some Dynamite this Tuesday live on Poisonrana Live.
Sunday.
Yes, Sunday. Sorry, I'm messing up all the things. Sunday at 2 p.m., Poisonrana Live. Search Poisonrana in your podcast app or YouTube. Give us a follow, subscribe, Poisonrana.ca for all the other stuff that we do. We do lots and lots of chat about lots of stuff. Because, Davey, if we're not talking about wrestling, we're talking on Behind the BDE about our love for Elon Musk.
Absolutely not. But
we went about 90 minutes where we really riffed on Canada versus USA, plus Harry Potter, James Bond. We went all over the place. Behind the BDE is a very exclusive show on the Patreon. And for some of the things we say on that, we'd probably be shut down. So patreon.com/Poisonrana. Become a friend or family member now and support the boys. We appreciate you supporting us. Also, super chats, because I see one here from Jake from the Windy City, who says, truly excited for these European Raws that we can watch live on Netflix, not waiting till 8. Yeah, so is this legit? Like, they're airing these as they
I believe so,
go?
yeah,
right,
as they happen.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Like,
cool.
Netflix is a worldwide thing. Like, why would you wait? Yeah, that's great. I think that's long overdue, doing something like this. And it just means we're going to get more and more international dates, which I think is fantastic. We also have one other super chat, and this is regarding Suzuki versus Butterbean. And this is from Cyclops is better than Wolverine.
Whoa. Hold on a second. Whoa, that's your name? Come on.
Who has sent us a super chat saying, Suzuki can't choke a guy out if he has no neck. Which is very true.
You are correct. Yeah, that's what makes it interesting, I guess. We'll have to see. I bet there'll be some crazy stuff announced for WrestleMania. I'm always intrigued by the indie stuff. Like, I had a ball last time at DDT, and I would recommend, if you're going to Vegas, like, DDT will be putting a show on. It'll instantly be the best thing you see. It's so much fun. I love this year's going to be tough because they just announced Stand and Deliver, like 9:30 a.m. Vegas time for y'all. If you're going, oh my God.
We spoke with John Pollock today about our WrestleMania schedule for how we're doing these shows and stuff. I don't know how we're doing this show and then hosting WrestleMania, let alone being in Vegas watching this show and then going to the other venue. It's very ambitious. Stay tuned. We'll be telling everyone what our plans are Mania weekend with shows and things. Obviously, we'll have Stand and Deliver covered. But yeah, very ambitious. And it's if you're going to the Hall of Fame as well, like the night before, because that's happening in another venue 2 hours after SmackDown. And then you go home, you have 2 hours sleep, and you get up for Stand and Deliver, and then WrestleMania. It's hard. Yeah.
Barely stand. That was me last year. Like noon was tough. The corpse of myself was dragged to that show, and I made it. But now you're telling me if I were to have gone, it's 9:30 local time. You fucking insane. 10 a.m. bell time. So that's like 1 p.m. for us, right? Eastern time. So like, oh my God, 10 a.m. for wrestling. Like, yeah. Geez, Stand and Deliver. Holy crap. I don't think they'll get 17,000 at 10:30 in the morning. I guess. I'm sorry. I don't think so. But they'll still do really healthy. There's people who are looking. The card will be great, I'm sure. So like it's going to be tough, but let us know if you're making your way to Vegas for Stand and Deliver. We love some live input. I know that's in a while and stuff, but yes. Well, with all that talk, we went very, very long. I'm sure someone is screaming at us right now. Why aren't you talking about NXT? So I think we should hit that roadblock to Stand and Deliver. WWE Roadblock.
Absolutely. NXT Roadblock 2025 live on March 11th from Madison Square Garden, the theater. And we're not messing around tonight because we get right into the first match for the TNA Tag Team Championship. It's the Hardy Boyz taking on FRAXIOM.
Yes, definitely excited about this. Like, this is the dream match, essentially. They've been saying it the last few weeks. The best tag team going today, and arguably the best tag team of all time. And here they are in, New York City, going up against each other. I was very looking forward to this one.
Matt and Axiom start things off. Matt tags in Jeff, allowing them to double team Axiom with a chin breaker clothesline combo. Fraser and Axiom then both hit suicide dives, and Fraser goes back in, hitting a huge tope con hilo to the floor as Axiom then goes to the top and delivers his beautiful moonsault off the turn. What was it? The Urihara moonsault.
Oh man,
looked fantastic.
This Power Ranger can fly, man. This guy just nailed them with that, like the speed he hit with that moonsault, because you're like springing yourself backwards in the air. Very impressive from Axiom.
We go to picture in picture, and as mentioned with Cino earlier, they really don't hold up here. There's more dives from FRAXIOM. After the break, Fraser hits a tope suicida, but gets caught by Matt with a side effect on the floor. And then the Hardys take their shirt off, and still at 60 years old, the women in this crowd are cheering. Yes, not quite 60, but yeah, you know what I mean. They go for the twist of fate on Axiom, but Axiom pushes Matt into Jeff, which knocks him off the turnbuckle as he was setting up for the swanton. And Axiom goes to the top, delivering a Spanish fly and then a big splash. But Matt breaks up the pin. Jeff then hits the swanton, but Fraser kicks out. And Axiom blind tags in and hits a knee right to the chin of Jeff Hardy. Fraser gets tagged back in. And they go for their high-low, but with the missile drop kick. But inadvertently, Fraser takes out Axiom with the drop kick, which allows a twist of fate to Axiom, which sends him out of the ring. And then Jeff follows up with the Swanton Bomb to Nathan Fraser. And the Hardy Boyz win 1-2-3, retaining the TNA Tag Team Championships on NXT TV.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, the Hardy Boyz obviously made their name in WWE for all these years. They mentioned MSG 2000, Royal Rumble, tables match against the Dudleys, iconic match. And here they are all these years later wrestling, in the theater for NXT, which is pretty crazy, but awesome match, like just nonstop action. I guess that's why they're called TNA, total nonstop action. Just everything that I thought this match was going to be. Like, I think the Hardys have really stepped up from the way they've been looking lately. Like, whether like their bodies, they look like in incredible shape, especially at their like oldest age wrestling. They're still in just like great shape. They were hitting all their moves. They've been looking crisp lately. The way like, hey, this is our last hurrah, our last our last ride, then we got to look good. And they really have. And I thought they really brought it in this match. I kind of said off the top when we were chatting with Sino, who was there live, both of us said this was probably our match of the night. And I grew up loving the Hardy Boys. I no matter what, I always come crawling back like, you know what, you've wronged a lot of fans, but we still love you, and we love a good comeback story. And I'm thinking this is a little bit of one, because they beat the undefeated FRAXIOM here in NXT. These guys have been on an incredible run, and I think this will lead into what we kind of been saying for the past few weeks. Like, hey, if the Hardys win here, it gives them a gripe to go for the NXT tag titles. And I think that's something that we will be seeing at Stand and Deliver, whether it's a ladder match, TLC match, that could even up the ante at this point. But I really thought this delivered, and there was some great stuff from all of them in this match. So bravo, guys. I bet this was a dream come true for Frazier and Axiom. I mean, facing, two of your idols must be incredibly difficult, considering you're kicking them in the head and everything. But yeah, this was awesome, man. Loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I agree. Like, I've been pretty down on the Hardys for quite a long time at this point. But I do think they're moving back better. Matt, especially, who, like, towards the end of his AEW run, like, just looked like he couldn't walk. And I thought he was looking a lot better here. I feel there's definitely more left on the table with this. Mm-hmm. I think Stand and Deliver, this has to be a rematch. I felt it was... I know these are two babyface teams, but I almost found it was a bit too clean, considering FRAXIOM have had this like incredible undefeated run. And I would say I definitely think there's more in there. I wouldn't say this has been my favorite FRAXIOM match. Like, it's great. Like, it's cool seeing them against the Hardys, but I think there have been some like even better matches than this in the FRAXIOM run. And I think maybe you just have to get that ladder involved at Stand and Deliver. Maybe
ladder, tables, and chairs, Davey.
Yes. I hope I don't sound too negative. I genuinely really did enjoy this match, but I felt like this was part one, and we're going to see something even bigger and better between these two teams.
I definitely agree with that. Like, they were hitting out the classics and the favorites, and like the crowd were so loud for the Hardy Boys. Maybe the biggest reaction on this show was for the Hardy Boys. They still are, a draw, and they're still a big thing for a lot of people. So really love this. Love the crazy moves that didn't feel like FRAXIOM were holding back either. Like, they were crushing them with some of those moves, especially that 450 Phoenix splash from Frazier to Jeff. Like, man, killed him. But
they know that Jeff doesn't hold back on the Swanton anymore. He's just like, you're taking this.
You're taking this now. Really want them to run this back for Stand and Deliver and add TLC, make it special. And then after this, do the Hardys lose? Like, I guess, right? Because you can't have them beat FRAXIOM. And then put the Hardys on main roster post-Mania. Let's go. Like, while we can, DIY Hardys, Street Profits Hardys, New Day Hardys. Like, let's get through it while they're saying after this is it. We've heard this a lot from the wrestlers, but like, they're getting up there. So Jeff won't be able to do those swantons forever. So let's get it out of the way while we can. But you know what? I was really pleasantly surprised and happy that this hit for me. So bring on the TLC.
We see Jada Parker backstage, and she says that we're in NYC and I'm watching the main event because Jada got next. And the camera pans back and we see she's chatting to Mickie James, one of the judges on LFG.
For now. Mickey's like, hey, Jada, here's some advice. Learn how to politic. I don't know if you've heard, but it looks like Mickie James has already been replaced for season 2 by Michelle McCool.
Yes.
For those who maybe weren't aware.
There was a great tweet from Andrew Dice Clay about the whole thing. I won't be using the language on post feed, but I suggest going and finding it. It's pretty funny. So yes, Mickie says, you can't wait for your opportunity or take your shot. Miss Parker, don't wait. You take and you take, and the only opinion you take so far. And opinions only take you so far. It's Stand and Deliver season. So if you want your claim, you've got to take your shot at the top of the division. And Jada says she appreciates her and she's locked in. So Jada kind of basically saying she's going to challenge whoever wins this main event match, and she'll challenge them at Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, we were kind of saying last week whether we go into this match like we were assuming that Stephanie Vaquer was going to win the main event tonight, and if she does, maybe she's got to do double duty considering it's double titles. Therefore, it doesn't mean no one's going to challenge. Like, we're not going to put these titles together. This title is still like only less than a year old, the women's North American. So like maybe Jada challenges Stephanie for the North American, and then maybe Jordynne Grace challenges Stephanie for the NXT Women's World Championship. So maybe that's the case, but like if you're Jada, you could just be like, I challenge you for both, and you know, why not both kind of thing. But I do think we're getting separate feuds for Stephanie. I mean, she kind of is the best thing going in NXT right now, so more Stephanie doesn't necessarily mean bad. So I'm in.
Yeah. Fuck it. I'm going to read the tweet.
Yeah.
He said, look, I don't mind Michelle McCall, and she went through a lot having to break in through that diva search. But comparing her level of talent, experience, ability to teach, promos, and everything else to Mickie James would be like comparing The Undertaker to someone who isn't a cunt.
I thought he was going to compare Bubba Ray to Undertaker. I guess, but yeah. I mean, she could teach them how to do the Faith Breaker. Just think, there's a whole generation of wrestling fans who saw the Faith Breaker before the Styles Clash. Just let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Eric Marcotte and Jack Lannon.
We see Tony D'Angelo, Stax, and the rest of the family, and Stax is just saying, look, T, I knew you shouldn't have competed last week, and it's my fault that you're not North American champion anymore. And no one knows what we've all been through. And Tony just says, yeah, I know what we've been through, but emotions get the better of us, and that leaves us open for things like this to happen. And Tony says he has a plan, and Stax says, no, look, I'm already on it. Next week, we've got a mixed 6-person tag. It's Stax, Luca, and Rizzo taking on Brooks, Nico, and Izzy Dane. And Tony asks, oh, what, you're booking matches without my say? And where do I fit in all this? And Stax goes, look, it was my fault last week, and I want to make it up to you. And Tony says, no, it's not your fault, but I co-sign. You can have the match. So still subtly playing on the sort of Stax taking more of the leadership role and making some decisions for the family.
Yeah, I mean, am I crazy to think that this is slowly going toward, like, Stax looks like he hit Tony on purpose last week. That's just me. That's just my eyes viewing this. So maybe Stand and Deliver, these two go at it like one-on-one, or we're going towards more of this thing. Yeah. Sorry,
you were breaking up a little bit for me there. No, as I said last week, I think Stax should beat Sean Spears for the North American title, and then that has a bit of a weird dynamic where Tony's got to chase him. I think would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
We go to our next match. It's Roxanne Perez taking on Jordynne Grace. That is not the graphic. A bit of a rematch from a few, like last year, right? Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne. And
yes.
Things start off very quickly. Rox just charging at Grace, but Grace goes for a clothesline, and then Rox starts just like running away, dodging Jordynne Grace. Grace eventually traps her arms and hits her with a bell clap, and then hits this beautiful like gut wrench over the head suplex, followed by a spine buster. And then while they're brawling on the outside, Rox sends Grace knee first into the steel steps, and this makes it a target for Perez throughout the match. She applies a figure 4 leg lock to Grace during the commercial break. However, Grace rolls on her front. You know what that does, Braden? It reverses the pressure.
Of course.
Jordynne then hits this crazy, like it was like a almost packaged Tiger Driver, like powerbomb thing. Looked awesome.
Very nice.
Perez comes back with this low head scissor takedown and goes up top and hits a really nice looking frog splash, I thought, here. And Grace kicks out, but it gets grabbed immediately into the crossface from Perez. She's fish hooking Grace, and then she's bending the leg back as well. Really great looking submission here. Rox then goes for Pop Rox, but that gets countered. Rox turns the counter into a backslide for a 2 count, but then gets caught with a spinning back fist from Grace, the rolling Death Valley driver, And then the newly named, I believe, Beast Mode.
Beast Mode.
This was the Juggernaut driver, I think, the race driver. Now the Beast Mode for the win in what I thought was a really solid match.
Yeah, I really love this. Like, I think I liked this more than I liked their first encounter. It just seemed like now Grace being in WWE, you can see that like they have a lot planned for her, and just so refreshing. I think these two are some of the best women wrestlers, period, today. And now both are in WWE. I could imagine we get to see this match again down the line on the main roster. I don't necessarily think this is like the last time we'll see Roxanne in NXT. We do need a proper goodbye in the PC. I think that's the right way to do it, but she should be moving on up. Maybe that Bayley Mania match might not happen, but I thought this was great. It was a great dynamic because Grace is just throwing her around, and Roxanne is just so good at like selling and making it look good, making her moves look good. The frog splash, underrated, one of the best going right now for sure. And that pop rocks counter was very, very nice. So I thought these two had good chemistry. The only critique is like, again, I want this down the line when there's stakes and like, you know, more time. Like I do think these two are some of the best. And now Jordynne in WWE, like sky's the limit. I think she will be pushed very, very quickly in the future. Cause if you're new to someone, if you haven't watched her, if you're not a, TNA person or whatnot, you're not super familiar with her game. Like this was maybe a great, I think this is a way better showing than last week with Cora Jade. Obviously we had the injury and everything, but like that aside, this was it. Like, oh, wait a second, look what she can do. We've seen her wrestle on NXT a few times, but now it's like she's ours now. And it's kind of like when Ospreay was wrestling, but he was still with New Japan. Yeah. And it's like, look at this guy showing off. Like, wouldn't it be great if he's just one of ours? And now it's like the same thing.
Well,
it's
like the last time they fought, a TNA wrestler wasn't going to win the women's NXT championship, So there was kind of that thing holding it back a little bit. I thought this was a really good match. I think both are just great wrestlers and work really well with each other. And barring injury, I think these two are going to be doing this for a long, long time. And I can completely see them as rivals on the main roster. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, but there is still that thing where you go, there's another gear here and there's a bigger match. But, it's second on the show. It shouldn't be the show stealer, really. But I'm very excited when these two have, Raw Women's whatever you call it now, the Women's Heavyweight Championship going at it. These two, I think, will be great.
But like also Roxanne losing clean straight up, like we haven't seen that, and she's been champion before, like losing the title. She was beating everyone. So
I think that's the one where I'm kind of with you. The Bayley thing has really cooled off since Chamber, and maybe that isn't the direction anymore. Maybe Bayley is just in some multi-person match or something at WrestleMania. Whether they bring back the Battle Royal or anything, I don't know. But I don't see Bayley's destination this year. And it feels like maybe they're like, let's just keep Rox till after Mania before we can move her up, because I see her on Stand and Deliver. This didn't feel like, we've had those matches in NXT where the person loses and then we'll see on .com or on Twitter later that they're having their thank you, Roxanne, and they're stood in the ring and getting their flowers. I didn't get the sense that was with this match. I don't think she's moving on quite yet.
Would you go Jordynne Grace versus Stephanie Vaquer for the women's world title, like at Stand and Deliver? Like I feel like that's the big matchup we'd go to. Roxanne versus Stephanie, we didn't quite get. That's something like if you're saying Rox is still here, then like there's some matches we could go to.
So are you thinking Stephanie defends both separately on Stand and Deliver?
I kind of think
does the Seth Rollins kind of thing with the back-to-back matches? So you could have
John Stewart will get involved. That's well, right? That was
different. That was SummerSlam. I'm talking Night of Champions, but
right, yeah. I
feel
like
feud. Same.
Like I don't want to do Rox Cora because like I know they're friends and all that stuff, but like if we have Rox, I'd like to see like Stephanie versus Rox.
The other thing, and I feel like we've been saying this for about 2 years now, and nothing's come to fruition. But apparently, Meiko Satomura is back in the States and has been.
My God, I forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, there we go. Roxanne comes out. I've lost my title. I lost to Jordynne Grace. I lost everything. I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. Mako comes out and goes, bitch, you can't leave until you face me one more time. And there you go. Mako, Roxanne, one more time. Absolutely. Mako is retiring like the end of April, just after. Like she's retiring very, very soon. She's been doing some rounds around in Japan. So like that is the match. I saw them post this video that she was training in the PC. I was like, oh my God, please do it. We've been, as I know I have, like ever since that angle with Mako and Rox where she injured her, you know, kayfabe wise, like let's go with that. Let's do that match one more time, please.
Dates wise, it works. Like it does come before Mako's retirement, and I think that would be a perfect way to
Stephanie Grace
send both off. You know, it's Mako's retirement match in the US, and it's Rox's kind of retirement from NXT. I
think Shawn Michaels, you know what to do. Do the right thing, Shawn. Mako versus Rox. Stand and deliver. Vegas. Book it, please. That'll make that card. Like that is a match. Like the first one was good, but it's TV. They had handcuffs. This time around, oh man, they could really do some crazy stuff. So please book it. That's like it's bigger than any other match. That's bigger than the TLC match for me. I love Mako Satomura. So you can hear it. We've done lots and lots of retro wrestling reviews talking about tons of Joshi wrestling. And anytime we've talked about Io or Kairi in some of our best match ever podcasts, any of their matches with Mako, man, like she is one of the best. Like one of the best.
We should do a Mako show for her retirement.
Oh man, we don't have a lot of time. We've talked a lot about them on different pods.
We could maybe do it like April is pretty packed with Mania. Maybe we do it just after the retirement so we can talk about her retirement match as well.
I think we have a few friends we could call for that show down the line. We'll put the bat signal out to WH Park and Karen Peterson out there for a best of Mako Satomura. Definitely would love it if she shows up on next week in the PC to challenge Rox. Please, Shawn, do it.
We're backstage where we see Oba Femi, who gets approached by MAGA Mark, who says, I've been watching you for a while and I'm impressed. And I'm not going to tell you how big this match is tonight because you already know that. But I am going to tell you to defend your yard.
I was going to say, some people are like, wait, who's he talking about? MAGA Mark? Oh, yeah. Well, it can't be the Undertaker, of course, is who he's talking about. He can't be MAGA if he's rocking all purple here. He's the People Party. What's the purple color here? He looks, as some people have pointed out, he looks like the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Ballas, with all the purple, like the not a do-rag, but like he wears the bandana.
He's part of Judgment Day, he looks like.
Oh, he did the purple first. Come on. He's the OG purple wrestler. But Undertaker's didn't get an in-ring segment or anything, but here he is just hanging outside.
I really like the use of the LFG judges today. Just short and sweet. It hyped up. It didn't take away from the talents. It wasn't like, let's have Undertaker come in and powerbomb or chokeslam your top star. It wasn't wasting time like the stuff with Rhea Ripley, like on that Netflix Raw. I thought this was a better use of them. You know, it was focused on the NXT talent and it kept the pace of the show moving. You know, it was just short and sweet, and then we're on to the next match.
Yeah. I think this is great. Like Oba Femi getting the rub from Undertaker here, being like, hey, I've been watching you. You've been impressing me, essentially. And then Undertaker, it's high praise. And I'll just reiterate, not a big fan of MAGA Mark, but when Undertaker, I see so many reels of his Dead Man podcast or whatever. He's got so many stories. I fucking love hearing some of the BSK stuff. I'll repeat this all the time. I find it so fucking funny. Just think of all these stories he had to keep in that box because he was in character, and now he's letting them all out, man. He's got some funny things out there. Just recently, Sean Waltman was talking about getting in fights somewhere in like Nova Scotia or something. And like they said that like the Undertaker or something walked in, and it's just like, nah, they're not fighting this guy. Like he sucks, but I still love him. You know what I mean? So shout out Mean Mark wearing his purple.
We go to our next match. It's for the NXT Championship. Moose from TNA, the TNA X Division champion, challenging Oba Femi.
Yeah,
it's big lads wrestling.
Yeah, like Booker was in his prime here. No bread, no water, just meat. And that's exactly what this match is. I mean, two guys kind of obviously coming from two different places here. Moose wrestling a whole lot longer than Oba Femi, currently the X Division champion. But like big guy, very agile, seems to like fly around a lot and throw people around. And then we have Oba Femi, and in the last year, he's become the ruler here in NXT, and he's pretty big, but likes to run around and throws guys around. So this really is a bit of a match made for each other here. And as soon as the TNA crossover with NXT, a lot of people like instantly were like, oh, hey, what if those two fought? And that's exactly what they did. And we got this pretty awesome match out of it here.
Yeah, and this crowd were hot for this. They were hot all night, but they were so loud. They were so hyped at the beginning of this match. Got a lot of big man stuff. Yeah, the bell rings. They're just, charging like at each other, staring.
The crowd just got like so loud for just when the bell rang. Like they were just ready to see these guys beat the shit out of each other. And that's what they did.
After the break, we get a fall from grace from Oba, but Moose rolls out of the ring. Oba then gets sent into the ring steps. Back in the ring, Moose goes for his like triple jump cross body from the corner, but gets hit with an uppercut midair. And then Moose comes back with a power slam, hits a top rope superplex, and goes the roll through into a second vertical suplex, but it gets countered into a vertical from Femi instead. And then they're both trading pump kicks. Oba keeps on doing pump kicks, but it won't knock him down. And then Moose charges in with a clothesline, finally knocking him down. Moose comes back with a big power bomb, and then Oba just military presses Moose above his head and drops him out the ring in a really incredible, impressive spot here.
Yeah, they were going like at it with each other, hitting big strikes band for band here, just slamming around and then finally like knocking each other down. The big sells from Moose, they're just like selling each other's moves, making them look even more powerful. I thought, was this when you said he presses him out of it, like throws him outside of the ring here and gets in right at 9. I thought it was a good old classic spot.
They're now both slugging it out. Moose sends Oba into the ring post and on the outside, and then hits a bookend through the announce table to big holy shit chants. 1, 2, kick out. And then Oba Femi catches Moose with the fall from grace. And 1, 2, 3, he pins the TNA X Division champion and is still your ruler, your NXT champion.
So according to last week, 2 weeks ago, he should be X Division champion because this was title for title, according to Oba. And then Ava was like, oh, no, it's not. So not new X Division champion, but still NXT champion, Oba Femi. There was some great back and forth here, like just a hoss fight, like slamming each other around. The superplex was very impressive. The gorilla press to the outside was pretty impressive. Just big men doing bigs. It felt like Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, that WrestleMania where like there's the table spots, there's all that like bells and whistles kind of thing. But I thought this was a great showcase for Moose. Again, maybe you're not super familiar with Moose. This would be like, wow, look what this guy can do. We got to see a snippet of it with Lexis King, but I thought this was a lot better than that match. And we both really liked that match, but like this showed you exactly why people wanted this match, because it was just meat slapping meat here, the big lariats and slams, and the fall from grace looked very impressive on both times that he hit it here, and including the counter from Moose. That was pretty good too. My only critique is I hate Moose's spear. It's the same like the Bobby, even worse than the Bobby Lashley spear. It just looks like he never really hits the guy, but still the crowd were like in for that near fall from that move. But yeah, awesome match. I think it delivered on what we thought these two could do. Big hoss fight here. Liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this too. I felt for most of this show, really liked the match, and then I'm like, man, I want to see this again. I want to see it. I want to see it with more. Maybe I'm just greedy, but yeah, super fun match. I think both guys are really good at these like just big meaty man, but so athletic, like doing stuff you're not particularly expecting from them. Like, when do you ever see Moose thrown away around like this? And similarly with Oba, like it's just so much fun to watch. And compare this to like, you know, the big men matches of old where we'd see Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez, or against any monster of the week, Great Khali, Big Show. Okay, Like these big guys are so much more athletic now and can do so much more, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I had great time with this. I think Moose has improved so much over the years, and I think maybe there's a bit of a stigma. I think maybe people remember him from, you know, beginning of ROH, and then we're just like, this guy's shit, and then never watched TNA, and he's come along such a long way. I think he's very fun performer to watch.
I was there cheering for him, Ted Reeves Arena, many times when he was cutting his teeth, and like I genuinely think he's come a long way, because I liked a Moose match. I said it today. I liked this match a whole lot. I thought this was really good. So much that, would you call me crazy, is Stand and Deliver the night of rematches, because would a rematch between these two be better than something else?
It's like, I feel Trick is the destination, but I would rather see this on Stand and Deliver for sure.
I see someone in the chat. JT is saying, is it Justin Timberlake? JT says, rematch at Stand and Deliver. Give Moose the win. Now, I don't know about that. We don't need to talking crazy, JT, but I kind of want, like you said, Davey, the only thing, maybe there was a next gear there, and I think we could.
I mean, whether, again, we have the TNA pay-per-view, whether you could do Oba challenging Moose for the X Division title on that. You could always protect Oba over there with some system shenanigans that has Moose retain his title. But I definitely would like to see these two go at it again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really enjoyed it. It got to what I thought, like just two guys beating each other up. So Oba Femi is coming a long way too, man. Like he is definitely getting better and better, and having matches like this, like a vet at this point, Moose, right? Like it's only going to help improve Oba Femi. So yeah, great job. But I still think it might be Trick versus Oba.
I think so. For Stand and Deliver, I think so. But yeah.
We have a super chat I see from Gustavo Guerrero. Now that's a great wrestling name, Gustavo Guerrero. He says, first time viewer, just got home from the show. Vaquer is queen. Thank you, Gustavo. Appreciate. We're up next. We do this every Tuesday night. Join us live on Post Wrestling. But appreciate the super chat, brother. Really glad you had a fun time. It looked like an awesome show, as you can hear us raving about it right now.
Lots of Stephanie Vaquer fans tonight in the chat.
But before that match, there was the video for Trick and Eddie Thorpe for the Underground match, and this is where we saw Trick training. Was this New York? Was he outside doing his best training? He was doing push-ups. He's doing pull-ups like Kendrick Lamar in New York City. He was working out. He's got his toque that said "whoop that," so he's ready for this Underground match here, just out in the city training. I mean, today was a lovely day, so this was perfect for them to
beautiful
walk
today,
in the sun. So looked great. I'm not quite sure if it was New York, but it looked awesome. Looked good. So Trick versus Eddie Thorpe in the Underground match is what we can look forward to next week.
Now, Sean needed to put something on this show to piss me off, and we have a Instagram video from Zaria who says she's with Solruka and she's going, "Hey, we did your thing last week with the skateboarding and ice cream eating and all that. So this time we're doing things my way. And wouldn't you look at it, they're wearing matching Zubaz. They're in a rage room. They're smashing bottles. This is what Alba Fire left behind, I guess, the rage room. They're smashing bottles with baseball bats, and then they go axe throwing. I hate this so much.
Best tag team in the game right now, next to FRAXIOM. Zaria and Soul, as I call the Soul Crushers. I love these guys more because I love these gals more because you hate them, and I find them pretty funny because when they wrestle, like they're incredible together so far. So like I love their wrestling right now. We still think it'll lead to like a big split up, but right now, no, I like this odd pairing. This video was weird though; it was kind of weak, just because the rage room looked terrible. Like that was one of the weirdest, lamest looking rage. It was just alcohol bottles. It was just like empty bottles that they're smashing. Like, is there nothing? What are you hitting this tire there for? Like, there's other things to smash. There's a lot of other things to smash, actually. So
again, I feel it should be like Zaria, the character they initially presented. It should be now we're doing things my way, and she's biting the head off of bats, and like doing like
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, like doing crazy shit. Not like
they do shoeies
I'm
at the end
gonna.
here.
Great, cool, yeah.
I feel like this. I get what they were trying with this, but like, yeah, like it could have been a bit better. But it's just a TikTok vignette, I guess. But Soul was very good at the axe throwing. Like she got it right on target there. So maybe they bring the axes to their next match.
She's gonna throw axes at all those poisonous creatures over there in Australia that might kill
Australia.
You, right?
I feel like, yeah, like she's Aussie. The surfing thing could definitely be the next thing that they do, but I don't know. I still prefer this over Real Ones. Will remember Zoe Stark and Io Shirai eating sushi in a restaurant. So this was better than that, and this wasn't good. So that tells you a lot about that time they tried to do that with those two. But yeah, I love a good shoey. I mean, I really don't because I'll never do one. But like, unless it's a clean shoe. But love to see it.
We see Fallon Henley with what are they? Fatal Influence, and they're bothering Ava. They're demanding a rematch for Fallon Henley for the North American title. When Ricky Saints interrupts and is like, "Whoa, what's all the yelling for all about here?" And JC tells him that he doesn't belong here, and they leave. And Ricky's like, Ava, how do you handle this every week? Like everyone's nuts, everyone's yelling, everyone's angry. And I want a match with Ridge next week. And this crowd boo when they realize they're not getting Ricky Saints tonight, that it'll be on next week's show. And that's when Ethan Page walks in and just tells Starks, he reminds him, NXT doesn't like outsiders.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny coming from Ethan Page.
Great line there. Definitely like reminding us that he was also someone who invaded NXT maybe a year or so ago. So I thought that another missed opportunity was Fatal Influence and Mickie James. Fallon Henley and Mickie James should have had a segment together. I feel like they're like, you know, the cowgirl kind of
country girls.
Yeah, you know, so that's fine. Ricky versus Ridge. Ricky should just run through Ridge. Ridge has got to be like this experiment has got to be finally pulled the plug on soon. I don't know what else there is to do with him. They've really tried, and it was awful. And Ridge wasn't a part of the show, and this show was great. So there's definitely some signs there that like Ricky should just beat him and instantly go feud with someone else, because I don't know about Ridge. Something that's brought up in the chat by JT again, not Justin Timberlake, is that he's asking about the John Cena chants, which yes, we didn't talk about. Is during Oba and Moose there were "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, which normally would be seen as like being disrespectful to like another match that's ongoing, but like they were just loud for this match regardless, and it was just another chant that was thrown in. But I think just shows you how popular this like Cena heel turn thing is like everyone's kind of still talking about it and wants to chant it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I wish I asked Cena about that. Like, how did that come about? Was there a guy in a Cena shirt or something that drew attention, or what? I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Right, yeah.
No, they were saying Ceno, weren't they?
Ceno sucks.
Let's go Ceno. Ceno sucks, yes. Well, we go to our next match. It's a New York street fight. Javon Evans versus Ethan Page, and both in street gear for this, which I always appreciate in a street fight, not in their classic gear.
Yes, and Ethan Page in like brown tan, not quite Shawn Michaels brown pants, but like his brown jeans, and then like gear, like both of them wearing what I saw some people saying G-Unit inspired tank tops here, just ready for the street fight. They knew, they've both watched street fights. And something we kind of also glossed over is the 2K thing they've been doing on WWE shows, whether
the entrances, Raw.
Yeah, like it's so cool seeing certain wrestlers now in the video game that haven't been before. So I bet that's a big deal for some of these people. There was
a point during the Roxanne Perez bit where they're showing her 2K entrance, and then I look down and I make a note and I look up and it's Roxanne just posing in the corner, and for a second I was like, wow, that looks incredible. And I'm like, oh no, that is just Roxanne Perez.
Yeah. At one point I was like the other way around. I was like, is that AI? Oh wait, that's 2K. Never mind.
So Paige comes in right away with a big boot to Javon. Javon gets hold of a chair and starts attacking Paige with it. And then Javon hits like a kind of springboard DDT onto a folded chair, like an unfolded chair to Paige. Paige then goes for a power bomb through a table that's set up in the corner, but this gets countered by Javon. And then there's this like almost blue thunder bomb onto the chair. Javon's climbing up the top, and Paige like launches him off the top, and he goes crashing through these two unfolded chairs, which looked incredibly painful.
Is that iconoclasm? What's that move?
It's the crossed arms pulling off the top. Yeah.
It looked pretty cool. Yeah. This is when Corey Graves and Vic Joseph were talking about the history of this venue. Like, oh yeah, Tyson's fought here, and Graves is like, oh yeah, well, the Lions Den match happened here, and like that's definitely more important. I love that callback though. Thank you, Graves.
Paige then picks up Javon and power slams him through the table in the corner, and then sets up another table between the apron and announce table on the outside. Javon goes for another springboard, but eats like an uppercut this time. And then there's another big powerbomb from Paige. Everything breaks down into a bit of a hockey fight. They're just duking it out when Javon leaps over the top rope with this huge cutter, like off the apron through the table on the outside. This looked great.
Absolutely nuts. Like, so I think Ethan's on the apron, and then Javon runs from in ring to the outside, jumps over the ropes, catches Paige, and then does the running cutter through the table that was set up from the comm desk and the apron. Like, wow, what a spot. I watched this back many, many times, and I thought,
you've seen
wow,
MJF do this, right? I think.
Yeah, he does it running to like the outside when there's not a table there, but this table there is pretty crazy. And I thought, wow, that was a pretty crazy cutter. There's definitely not anything else they could do a cutter with in this match that would be topping that. I'd be wrong though. I think that would be very wrong.
Javon then does this huge leap over the top rope, very Undertaker-esque, landing on Paige onto the announce table this time, sends him into the ring and hits his triple jump corkscrew senton. It looked like he landed on Ethan Page's face with this thing.
Yeah. This move is nuts. He just spins as many times as he can. It's like in like Tony Hawk when you're just like spamming all the things and seeing how many you can do before you land. And then it's just, you know, as we go, as I land, whether it's on your face, we'll find out. But pretty nuts.
Paige, however, kicks out, so Javon gets the steel chair. And he wants payback. He wraps it around Ethan's neck. He's going to Pillmanize him, but Paige moves out the way, picks up the chair, throws it in Evans's face, and then Paige goes to do it once again to Javon, but Javon escapes. He wraps the chair around Ethan's head and hits a springboard cutter on Paige with this chair wrapped around his neck. You see the chair just like jamming into the ring mat here. This looked so scary. And I think what sold this for me more is you just hear Corey, and it's not like in commentator voice. Graves just goes, please be okay. Like that. You go, and you're like, fuck, that looked so dangerous. It won the match for Javon. Incredible finish. I really got into this match.
Like insane finish. The Hardy Boys were on the card tonight, so maybe Javon and Ethan were inspired by WrestleMania 25. The finish to Jeff versus Matt is a twist of fate with the chair wrapped around Jeff's head, just like this. But Javon upping the ante by doing it while, you know, triple jump diving backwards to hitting this thing. You could tell that they maybe have practiced this because Ethan was so like perfectly set to, I hope he's okay. This looks like it just killed him here. But with the storyline going that, you know, how he hurt Javon so badly, it made sense. But yeah, I thought the two cutters in this match were crazy. That one jumping one through the table, and then this one, it was done perfectly. Like, what a battle. They had the crowd just roaring for this one. Like they didn't get too crazy. Like they did some table spots and some chairs, and then it was kind of perfect. Is what this feud really needed. I think this might, you know, end the feud. However, they are one apiece, and this has been a really fantastic feud, especially from the last few weeks of TV. So I wouldn't be upset if there is some sort of rematch. I just don't know where we would go, considering it got pretty violent. But yeah, really love this. Really love this stuff. Ethan Page has been great in this heel evil role, and Javon at such a young age is like his stock is rising very, very quickly in NXT, and a title championship run for this guy is in his near future for sure, because this was really impressive. Some of the stuff this kid does is stuff I think Vic was, or someone was saying, like some of the stuff this guy does is only what you come up in video games. And it's totally true. And then I got a huge laugh of Corey Graves talking about Ethan Page, I think right before the match, like, this guy comes from the mean streets of Hamilton, Ontario, and Booker T. I don't know if he knows Hamilton. He just starts laughing like Hamilton, Ontario. Yeah, there's lots of needles on the ground, but lovely place, Hamilton. Fun match for me. I thought they delivered for sure.
I was really satisfied with this, to the point where I'm fine with them moving on after this one. I thought this was such a great blow-off match, and I would go as far to say I think this is Ethan Page's best singles match in WWE so far. I really enjoyed this. I think there's, we talk about this all the time, the restrictions of like hardcore matches in WWE. There's only so much you can do. You're not going to see people pulling out glass and razor blades and all that crazy stuff we did on Sunday, but it means you've got to work kind of a little, like you've got to try and be a bit more creative with these matches. And we see so many which are just, kendo stick, trash can, and are kind of dull, and it's the crowd pop for the table spot. And I thought they really thought about this one and actually lived up to the level of violence, despite there not being glass and sharp objects and blood and all that. I was really let down with the Ethan Page Trick Williams match. That was promising to be super violent and stuff, and it was not. But things like the finish here, the cutter onto the chair is violent and scary looking. So it did up the ante, and I thought was one of the better sort of, street fight, no DQ style matches that certainly NXT have done for a long time.
Yeah, in NXT, definitely up the ante. You're totally right. We've seen I hate the like you said, Michin. Oh, the death match. This you're using a kendo stick in a chair. Like, it's pretty house show rules there. Where at least they were creative enough. Hey, if we're only allowed to use these things, then we're going to do stuff that maybe you haven't seen in quite a while. And that chair both a lot of the spots in this match were very, very creative. So good for. We've seen Ethan Page. If you follow his career, like, he can be pretty violent, especially before his WWE stuff. And Javon at such a young age is like, hey, you're gonna have to learn how to do this stuff sooner or later. So it's kind of a win-win, because you said, like, Ethan Page has been in NXT now for a year, but it really feels like this run has like solidified him and proved that like why he should be in WWE. So like this Ethan Page and this Javon Evans in the main roster in a year or two, like, man, like they're gonna be having great WWE runs if all things go well. So yeah, this was pretty fun to watch, and I kind of want to see one more, but I don't know where we would go with it, and I just don't know where we would go with Javon and Ethan Page after this. If we get a multi-man like ladder for the North American title, I don't know if we're going to do ladder with the Hardys or not, but yeah, I don't know where we go with these guys, but I liked it.
Yeah, that is the only thing. Like, I can't see a clear direction for either guy right now. So maybe you just do it once more at Stand and Deliver to just have them have something to do. I don't know. But I as I said, I was perfectly satisfied with this being the conclusion.
Or now that they've killed each other, the only right thing to do is become friends, because they might have a common enemy right here.
It's not the worst idea. Like, yes, because after the match, the lights go off. They flicker blue, and we see Dion Lennox with his mates in their masks in the crowd. They come to the ring, and as their music's still playing and the blue lights are flickering, they beat the shit out of Javon Evans.
Yes, the Mystery Men attack. No, not the Ben Stiller movie. Great movie, though. The Mystery Men, who still don't have a name. They've kind of been MIA in the past little while. But here they are, Dion Lennox slipping and very upset at himself for slipping. He was like, shit. But they picked it up and they hit that move. We've seen the Spirit Squad High Spirits meets the Shield Bomb, which looks good.
Toss Shield Bomb. It looks great. Yeah,
it looks good. But
they've got to now really follow up with these guys, because I think they dropped the ball very quickly. You've got to have them talk or something next week. I think
we need something. it's been bad. So like this is the first, like, I guess it's been a few weeks. They had this show set up, so maybe they were trying to pull back, but at least they showed face here to remind us like, hey, we're something. But I don't know where we go with this. Like I said, I'm joking. Maybe Evans and Page team up because they're mad that these guys attacked them, but they didn't do like that big of an attack. I don't know. I'd say this is not as big as maybe some of the other, like, invasion angles that we've seen. Like, this is very copy paste from the Shield. Even the move is similar to the Shield, and the looks, the face mask. So they need to do something a bit creative.
We get a video from Sean Spears' group. It starts off with Brooks Jensen saying when he was at his lowest, Spears brought him in. And Nico Vance says, our mission statement is to cut out the weak, to cull. Izzy says, we have 4 hearts with one clear goal. And she asks Spears how it feels to now be champion. And he says, last week I took the gold. Next week I take their hearts. As the graphic shows up, the culling, as we have a name finally for this group.
Not the family, not the learning chair, but the culling. Reduction of animal population by slaughter. The culling. When Izzy Dame in this video said 4 hearts, one thing, I was like, don't you go there. Don't finish that one. I liked at least Brooks Jensen, who, we've been following for a long time, and we still know that he likes to eat steaks, but he completely changed here. And I guess there was some truth, like, hey, I was cast aside by all my friends, and like, this guy was here for me, and look, now he's won some golds. Like, maybe there's promising here. So we've talked about this group for the past little while, and like, it's not great that Sean Spears is like the leader of a faction at this point in NXT, but at the same time, these people now are being focused on, they're being put on TV a lot more, and I'm willing to see where we go with it, at least before we kind of critique it as much, because like the match last week wasn't great, but a match a few weeks ago with Sean Spears was pretty good. So it's like, let's see where we go with this. I do imagine they beat the family, which causes more problems with Tony D and Stacks and whatnot. But where do you go? What's the North American title picture for Stand and Deliver? Like I was saying, Javon, Ethan Page, Wes, there's a few different people you could put in that mix. Yeah,
like I feel it's going to be, I feel you might have to do more than a 6-match show this year, because there's a lot of people that you want to be sure for the North American.
Like we've seen the 5-way matches for that title before. Like you could do something like that. So like Tony versus Sean versus Wes, they all have their families, ringside, and then you put Evans and Ethan Page in there. I think that maybe that one. I don't know. I'm not sure.
We move forwards where Eddie Thorpe is at ringside to crazy boos from this crowd.
Very loud boos.
They do not like Eddie Thorpe here. Yeah. And he's just shit talking. He's saying that, so now Trick is motivated. Well, Trick has no idea what he's getting into. I'm the underground king. I'm the king of the underground. And Trick does not like getting hit. And as he's saying all this, there are whoop that Trick chants. And he says, I know Trick wants to hold the NXT championship again, but Trick is going to choke just like the New York Knicks.
Boo.
And, well, you don't insult the local sports team, because Trick Williams jumps and attacks Eddie Thorpe and is slamming his head against the announce table, beating him all up, and and just has his moment in front of this crowd.
Yeah, the crowd were really booing him. It was one of the loudest reactions. Maybe just that one section was mic'd perfectly for this segment, but it was so loud you could almost have to fight to hear what he was saying. So I'm sure he loved that. And when Trick came out, the crowd erupted. You could kind of figure he was running down before you even saw him. So the underground matches have been pretty good. Eddie Thorpe, he's not the most exciting in the ring, and neither is Trick, but they're doing the best they are with this feud, and it was off to a rocky start for sure. But like, if you were just looking at this, like, you'd kind of be excited to see what they do with this. Like, the crowd really seemed like they wanted his head here for no reason. They just booing him just because we hate you. And I think it worked. I think if you were watching, it's like, oh, you know what? I think they might try to kill each other next week. So I'm willing to see what happens.
It's interesting now, isn't it? I think there was such a long period of time where fans just completely rejected everything Vince was putting out in front of them. They were going to these events because they've been wrestling fans for years and it was all there was. But there was so much of cheering the heels and booing the baby faces. Now people just like the product. We'll go along with it. What, you're telling me this is the bad guy? Cool, I'll boo him. And it makes it feel so much hotter. You're watching this, you'd think Eddie Thorpe is one of the biggest heels in wrestling. He's not, but like, people know what their job is. This is the bad guy. He's been a dick. We're going to boo him. We're going to cheer the good guy.
Yeah, no, I think that's been a thing in wrestling, minus the John Cena turn, because I've watched that segment back like a million times. It's just the roar of the crowd, like, oh my god, like people screaming more than just people booing. Whereas, like, I feel like wrestling fans right now, we are booing the bad guys because we're supposed to. You ask any wrestler, they tell you, don't fucking boo me if I'm the baby face, and don't cheer me if I'm the heel. Ask most of the time. And then what do people do? Like, we loved cool heels, right? Yeah. Remember, we gotta boo these people, and it's fun. It's part of the show, So I thought the crowd did their part here, booing Eddie Thorpe. So this hasn't been the most exciting like feud and everything, but I think they're making the best of it. So I think we could have a fun underground match next week. And I think if it's still the right, the thing that we've been saying for months now, it's probably Trick winning, and it's probably Trick calling his shot with Oba Femi. So that probably is still in the cards for your main event of Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, honestly, all the NXT Underground matches have hit so far. So I think this will be a good match between those guys.
Get Butterbean and Suzuki and Dan Severn involved.
Yes. So we go forward to our main event. It's Giulia, the NXT Women's Champion, taking on Stephanie Vaquer, the NXT Women's North American Champion, in a winner-takes-all match.
Title v. title. Yes. I mean, these two coming into WWE seemed like if anyone knew who they were before WWE, they were very excited to see, these two stars make it to NXT. Stephanie Vaquer making a name for herself pretty quickly. I think, like, for some people, it was that, Mercedes Moné match that everyone was like, whoa, who is this person? And right away, snatched up by WWE. Giulia, we've seen a lot in previous things, but they talk about for the past while since being in NXT of like how they're friends and, the one-on-one match would be great. And here we are getting it. We rushed to this, a lot of speculation, whether it's an injury or someone's banged up or this and that. But here we are on a TV special, not Stand and Deliver weekend, but on the CW, getting it, title versus title. And these are two of the best women's wrestlers going today. And I think this is giving them the main event was the right decision. And they totally knocked it out the park. And some of the wrestling that we got to watch here, just incredible. And after watching, I'm jumping ahead. I hope the injury thing, I didn't see any injury from anyone. They thought they were really going at it. So I really love this match. And I'd probably say my second favorite match of the night was this one here tonight.
Yes, absolutely. They start things off by shaking hands, and they just go for their finishers right away. Giulia going for the Northern Lights bomb, which gets blocked. Stephanie then going for the SVB, which gets blocked, and like a bit of a stalemate. They go to the outside, start brawling on the outside. Back in the ring, Giulia hits Stephanie with a missile drop kick, and then Stephanie comes back with a springboard crossbody. There's then a draping neck breaker from the apron to the floor from Giulia, and this, I believe, was during picture-in-picture. Stephanie teases her Booker T move. What do we call this thing? The head trap, like
the face
slamming thing.
The greatest move in NXT history. Yeah, the face smash.
Exactly. And Booker's getting all excited. However, Giulia counters it, which gets huge boos from this crowd, and then applies the face smash herself. This was all in picture-in-picture, but I thought this was super fun.
We watch on Netflix, so like this is still just like the normal match, but they were giving it all. Like all the matches during picture-in-picture were just it treated like a PLE tonight because the action didn't slow down in any of the matches during picture-in-picture. But Vic being like, Booker, it's gonna happen, and then Giulia counters and Giulia does it. Vic was like, hey, I guess Corey Graves should be the one getting excited about this since Giulia's the one he was trying to switch it up there. The crowd booed when she countered the face smash, and then eventually like we do get it, and it's like this big eruption. So this move needs a name, like really quickly, because right now the crowd were chanting Booker T at this
Yes.
this spot of the match. But yeah, great.
There's then a Meteora from Stephanie, followed by her head slam.
There we go.
And this is where the Booker T chants start, as he's like loving it.
Losing his mind.
They're fighting on the top, and Giulia delivers a like double underhook superplex. Very like Bryan Danielson-esque here.
Yeah. Very
awesome.
Nice.
Followed by a spinning Michinoku driver. And then as she's in the corner, she gets caught with a dragon screw leg whip from Stephanie and gets hit with the SVP. 1, 2. Giulia kicks out. Stephanie goes up.
There's like, we hate this move. I think the one negative about Stephanie Vaquer is this finisher that she's used. And even when Giulia kicked out, there wasn't a reaction, because if you weren't familiar with her using this as a finisher, you'd think that's a pretty lame looking move. And no one reacted to Giulia kicking out for the first time here. So
it's weird, isn't it? Because this crowd clearly knows NXT. Like, they were reacting to sort of small things that only people watching this product every week would know. But yeah, I completely agree. They didn't react like this was a kick out of a finisher. This isn't, a Stone Cold Stunner and The Rock kicking out because it doesn't feel like a finisher. However, I thought this next move was incredible. Stephanie goes up top and hits a picture perfect looking spiral tap where she gets caught on the landing into a triangle. That was so smooth. It looked so great.
Insane. Perfect timing.
And then Giulia transitions out of the triangle into a Rings of Saturn, and Stephanie's screaming. She's reaching for the ropes. She just gets like her tippy toes to the ropes. And then as the hold is broken, she goes for a very quick roll up on Giulia, but Giulia kicks out and just charges at Stephanie with the Arrivederci knee, and then goes for the Northern Lights bomb attempt. But Stephanie slips out, delivers 2 super clicks, hits the SVB once, and hits the SVB once again. And 1, 2, 3, Stephanie Vaquer is your double champion.
Yeah, double champ. As she holds up the 2 titles, the confetti rains down, and it's what a crazy finish here for her beating Giulia. But I thought there was some great back and forth action, especially like the spot of this match was that, twisting corkscrew move off the top into the counter of the triangle, into the transition to that Rings of Saturn there. Just insane timing. And it looked so good. And then it was countered into multiple counters and like back and forth. And again, I don't know if these reports of anyone being injured was the reason we got this. I didn't see any sign of that from either of these opponents in either of these wrestlers in this match. I just thought this was so good. And my only critique is it only went like 9 minutes when I was like, man, I could watch these two go at it. So Giulia, I think, has had I know she was the champion, kind of had a rough start in NXT. I wouldn't say necessarily blew me away. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. Whereas Stephanie came into NXT and is like, oh, they're not making her the champion, but a lot more of the focus was on her. So I do think this is a great little pivot, whether or not this injury thing is legit or not. But like, this was great. This was an awesome match. And it shows me that I do think like Stephanie Vaquer, Giulia, 2 of the best women's wrestlers alive right now. And all I can say is I cannot wait till we get Stephanie versus Io, because that is a match that I just know these 2 will be flying all over the place, countering each other's moves. It will be perfect and will be a main event or women's title match in the near future. But this was so good. I think this was my favorite Giulia match since coming to WWE. Same with Stephanie. I just thought they worked so well together. If they are, in fact, besties in real life, I think that proved to like, hey, let's try some stuff and push the limit. And I thought they really, really did. Compare this to some of the other women's matches we've seen in recent history in WWE. Like, this already is like way more impressive. Some of the stuff Stephanie Vaquer can do is really, really good. So I'm really happy she won. And now going forward, if Giulia is taking time off, if she's not going to be involved in Stand and Deliver, it's kind of, I guess, up in the air. But let's go with Stephanie. She clearly gets the reaction. She clearly can get it done in the ring. So big star on their hands with Stephanie Vaquer. Like, I think she's one of the best going today. And this proved it. This proved it for sure. Like, really love this match. I thought this whole show was entertaining, but letting the women main event was the right move. And TK, take notes. Let the women main event sometimes when you need to. But yeah, Really, really love this. And only thing next to do is I want Stephanie versus Jordynne Grace. Book it, Sean. Book it.
Easily Giulia's best. I mean, yeah, easily both of their best matches, I think, in NXT. I just thought some of those transitions were so smooth. And I think we've said this about the problem is with someone like Giulia, who's a pretty like hard hitter. It's maybe not everyone is ready for that. Like maybe some of her opponents haven't been ready for that. And therefore you're holding back a bit, maybe. Whereas Vaquer, like you trust each other, you can go more full pelt. I saw no signs of, I think they've been saying like beaten up, like just hurt and need some time off, whether that is the case with Giulia, but didn't see any of that here. I'm really torn with my match of the night this year. I actually really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed the New York Street fight, and the Moose Ober match. They would be like between those three for me personally, but top to bottom, I thought this show was great. And finally, Giulia delivering more here. We know it's in her. We've seen her have some fantastic matches in the past in Japan. And hopefully she is around for Stand and Deliver. Do we get a I really don't know what this Stand and Deliver card is going to look like. I think we're putting the pieces together for Mania, whereas there are so many pieces where I don't know where you place them for this show.
Yeah. No, I think this is one of my favorite NXT shows. Favorite TV NXT in a long, long time. I'd say the last one I really loved was the ECW venue show that they did just, in 2024. But I think this surpasses it by a long shot here.
I enjoyed this more. Yeah.
Someone at me. What is a better episode of NXT in the last little while, and in quite a while, like front to back? This was a TV special, and it felt like that. It felt like, as Sino said, it felt like a PLE, a takeover, if I dare I say. So, yeah, I know NXT still might not have everyone's attention, and still, that stink of 2.0 has definitely scared a lot of people off from NXT, even years removed. But this was honestly like really, really good. It had a little bit of everything. It had your nostalgia with the Hardy Boys. It had the good wrestling with all the matches, and the women really went out there and pushed the envelope a bit too. So hands down, one of my favorite NXTs in quite a while. You could tell from the excitement out of us talking about it for almost 2 hours now. We really loved it. And if this is any indication of where we're going for Stand and Deliver WrestleMania season at 9:30 in the morning, local Vegas time, like, hey, this is going to be a good show too. Like, all the pieces are coming into play, and WWE, like I said, have some big stars on their hand coming out of this class, whether it was Ethan Page, Oba, Javon, Stephanie, Giulia. The list is just keep going and going. So I'd say by next Tuesday, we'd find out maybe some of the directions, because we got Trick and Eddie in the underground match. Like, you'd imagine Trick wins that and then calls his shot for Oba Femi, and then that kind of solidifies our main event. And now it's Trick chasing Oba for the title. And then the Hardys FRAXIOM thing, like, we got to get something from that. And I think a rematch is in the books for that. So, like, fantastic show. Great show from NXT tonight. And Shawn Michaels be cooking. I can't wait to see where we go with this.
Yeah. Completely agree. Great stuff. It looks like the feedback thread didn't post on Facebook. So
no.
I scheduled it, so maybe it will show up in a couple of days. Who knows? But
no, I see it right here. Yeah, there's three pieces of feedback.
Oh, my Facebook's being weird. I'll let you take it ahead.
Facebook been super weird, but I'll read these here. First, we go to Fire Frank Sulo. That should be the champ. He says, "What a night." Now, Frank was there live with our friend Sino Evil. Frank says, "What a night. Started off getting upgraded to better seats and was witness to a PLE-worthy roadblock. Every match hit. Crowd was molten all through. Mostly actionless filler. One of my favorite shows I've been to. Hope they come back for an actual PLE someday soon. Well worth venturing down into the city tonight." Thank you, Frank. Really appreciate that.
And then we have Jeremy Samples. I don't think we've heard from Jeremy before, but hello. Thank you.
Jeremy, have you written in before? If not, first time, long time.
First time, long time.
Wow, Jeremy. All right, what does Jeremy have to say?
He says, "Writing this from my seat at the top of the theater at MSG. What a night. This is awesome chance in every match. Such a hype crowd all night. For me, being a diehard TNA fan since day one, this almost felt like a super card. And the last time I was here at the theater at MSG was for the ROH Fan Fest before G1 Supercard. So cool to see Hardys get such an amazing reaction and a win. Moose have such an amazing match, get to go on par with Oba and get major respect after the match with a handshake from Oba and a huge cheer from this crowd. The respect that TNA talents got with their actual being real TNA chants through MSG made for an incredible night. I thought it was interesting that they had a clock all night on the hardcam side, and then it changed to do a countdown with 6 minutes left in the show. First time I have seen that at a TV taping, but probably needed since all the TV production was being stored on the stage. Such a fun night. Thanks so much for your show, guys. You're welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, always appreciate feedback from the shows that we're talking about, but especially like live, being there live adds to a whole lot of it. And it sounds like Jeremy here had a hell of a night watching this. And if you're a big TNA fan, yeah, this felt like our Worlds Collide show a little bit with some of the key characters and everything. So glad you got to witness this. And it's that countdown, we didn't see that at home, but it makes sense. There is no overrun with CW. They were out right at 10 o'clock, and that has been the case. They got to cut to Family Feud, that they can't miss the Family Feud or nightly news. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. So I really appreciate that, Jeremy. Really appreciate you writing in. We have one more though, from Sean McTier, who says the elusive, perfectly executed show. That's what we got tonight. 5 matches, 5 bangers. FRAXIOM gave us one of the best Hardy matches in years. Roxanne put Jordynne over huge with her new home. Oba became the unquestioned ruler of the NXT yard. Javon and Ethan far exceeded expectations in a street fight that has to be both men's best match in NXT to date, and Stephanie and Giulia gave us a special, historic main event. The table is set for Road to Stand and Deliver. I cannot wait to see where it leads. Yes, very, very true. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. This is from our Facebook group. You can find Poisonrana on Facebook. Give us a like. It'll lead you to the group, and we post fun things like memes and feedback threads that we will read, and always appreciate live feedback, especially if you ever go to NXT on Tuesdays at the PC or now that they've been traveling. Love to hear it and really appreciate it there. And it sounds like all across the board, numbers are on the board. Everyone loved Roadblock here today at Madison
hell of a
Square
show.
Yeah, hell of a show here tonight. We hope you enjoyed us talking all about it. Appreciate you giving us your time, your ears here today, whether you're in the YouTube chat live. We do this every Tuesday, 10:05 p.m. Eastern, and we do lots of other shows. Search Poisonrana in your podcast app or YouTube. Give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. Poisonrana.ca for everything else that we do, including our Patreon. We do tons of wrestling reviews. Best match ever. Triple H is coming out in a few weeks because his Hall of Fame is happening. So Triple H fans, get ready. But we do lots of stuff. Wrestling reviews, movie reviews. We just reviewed the Oscar sweeper, Honora, featuring, strippers and Russians and all sorts of fun stuff. We're all over the place on our Patreon, and it's only $5 if you want to support. So patreon.com/Poisonrana. Again, we do lots and lots of shows, and we can't do it without all our friends, new and old. Maybe this was the first time listening to us. We super appreciate, and we'll be live this Sunday on our Poisonrana YouTube to chat all about some SmackDown, some Raw, some AEWs, and so much more. So really appreciate all the postmarks out there. Appreciate all the NXT friends out there, and it's Stand and Deliver season. You know what I mean?
It is best season of all.
Oh yeah, buckle up. Appreciate everyone out there at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all those fun things, and yeah, we'll see you soon. The roadblock is over, and the road is clear. Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania season. You can follow me at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That is it. That is all. We'll chat very, very soon. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. Support Canada. And we are NXT.
Ahoy!